following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Dover, Delaware, capital of the first state, where the business of state government, our military with the massive Dover Air Force Base, plus the beautiful oceanside setting dominate most weeks and weekends. In the middle of that setting, the Dover International Speedway, a NASCAR fixture since 1969, where the fans have been gathering for days, camping and tailgating on the grounds, getting revved up for race number 2 in the chase for the Sprint Cup. That race will be 400 laps on a place nicknamed the Monster Mile, a tough ribbon of concrete and steel that features high speeds and little room for error. The 12 drivers competing for the championship know they're in for a long, hard-fought afternoon, each of them hoping to be the one holding the Monster Trophy at day's end.
Rising up to see the last man standing.
One chase race down, 9 to go. Who will survive the monster and be the last man standing?
It's the hard knocks, it's the long shots, it's believing in yourself when you're all you got. Don't turn back, don't give in. Rising up to see the last man stand. Who's gonna be?
10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown. It's race 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, 400 miles at the Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. Ask any driver, he'll tell you this track deserves every bit of its nickname, the Monster Mile. The huge high bank turns and short, narrow straightaways inflict a pounding on car and driver. And at such high speeds, even the smallest slip can become a big pileup. This is the second of 10 races that will determine who the champion will be. Carl Edwards leads the standings starting the day. He has more wins than Jimmy Johnson, so even though the two of them have the same number of points, Carl is shown as the leader, while Jimmy shows second on the chart. After troubles in New Hampshire last Sunday, Kyle Busch slipped from 1st to 8th. He's down 74 points, even though he won the most recent race here. The biggest move up the standings was by a man who climbed from 9th to 3rd after being first to the checkered flag. The win for Greg Biffle, continuing a late-season surge that's gotten the attention of all of his rivals for the title.
They're set to make one final stop here. That would be the run to the checkers. Greg Irwin with a little bit of a pep talk for his 16 over-the-wall team, saying we're not going to get beat by the 48 team.
Go, 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 Dick, go, 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 go.
Drag race off pit road, won by Greg Biffle.
You get him? Yeah, we got him. About the best night I've ever seen on pit road.
Jimmy Johnson goes back to the top of the leaderboard. That didn't take long.
Doing all I can, man. I can't catch him.
Just the momentum we've had to get in. The guys are fired up.
He hasn't been to victory lane since Kansas in September of 2007. How badly does he want it?
Now we just need to close the deal.
300 miles of racing today. It's a crucial event in determining the champion this year.
It's a lot of pressure, but I'm ready for it. I'm mentally, physically ready for these 10 races.
14 laps to go here. Can Jimmy hold him off? Is Biffle going to be able to get up there?
It'll be tough to take this race away from Jimmy Johnson. He's about as good as he gets whenever he gets down to this time.
Biffle gets to the inside. They're door to door. Johnson to the outside. Biffle down low. Biffle gets the nose ahead.
Where did this come from?
Maybe he was saving fuel until this last run.
33 races since Greg Biffle has gone to victory lane.
He's overdriving behind you. Just the easy in, beat him back to the gas.
Greg Biffle has announced his presence with authority here today.
These boys got problems when we're beating them here. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. You're the man, Biff. You're the man. Woo! Forgot how to do this. I missed the last one, man. I got to see this. You go get it, boy. You deserved it.
The statement definitely is that Greg Biffle is here to play. How much were you guys holding back?
Probably only Greg Biffle knows that. I was holding back at the end there, but that's what my plan was inside the car. And the horse rode today, didn't it?
That was last Sunday in New Hampshire, right behind the victory lane at this track. Dover today sits our ESPN pit studio, where we welcome you inside. Alan Bestwick with three-time Dover winner Rusty Wallace, NASCAR team owner Brad Daugherty, and the man from last Sunday in New Hampshire, the winner, Greg Biffle, who hopes to drive into Dover's victory lane today. Congratulations. I'm curious, you came into this chase not having won a race yet this season. I don't know if you felt like you could win the title or not, but you've won now. How did that win change your outlook at all?
Well, I mean, it really gave the team a lot of momentum, and I felt like we were capable of winning the title coming in. You know, I said if we make the chase, I think that we have enough momentum and good enough cars, good enough team to be able to win the title. And once we made the chase, it's a whole different focus for me. It's execute, not make mistakes, and win races.
Greg, don't take this wrong, but last year you had a lot of problems. The car wasn't handling right, some mistakes, stuff like that. And, man, you weren't even on the radar screen, so to speak. But this year, buddy, you're a big blip in that baby now. What was the main turning point that got this team back on track?
Well, I think it was we understand this car a lot better. We've tested. We've continued to get better and better with the pit crew. And I've got a new focus, you know, behind the wheel. I realized that I need to take a little more of a role in trying to get this car right for today's race. And so I've been, you know, a little more proactive on Saturday and Friday and Saturday of what's going into the car and what I need. What I want the car to feel like, and I got my car right for today.
You know, last year, Greg, you were a monster free agent in this deal, okay? And the rumors were floating around, well, he's going to go drive a Childress car. He may go to Hendrick. And you were kind of in between. You know, you didn't say a whole lot. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you said, I'm going back to Roush Fenway. Was there any one defining moment that told you, yeah, I'm going to stay here. I want to stay here. What was it for you?
There was a couple things. One is this 3M on my chest. They stepped up to the plate and said, you know, if Greg's going to be the driver of the 16 car, we're in for 3 years. And that meant a lot to me, you know, for the sponsor to stand behind our program like that. And, you know, the Robbie Reiser and all the things around there, and Doug and those guys at the engine shop, how hard they've worked. And Greg Irwin as a crew chief. And just saw all the support around me and wanting to win championships, and I felt like that was the best opportunity for me is, you know, and I thought about the friend that got me the opportunity. You know, he felt like, you know, that was the place I needed to stay.
You're talking about Benny Parsons,
who
you mentioned in Victory Lane last week in that same way, and that's really cool, by the way, personally. I want to turn the focus from last week and last year, what got you to this point now, to this week by something you did in between last Sunday's race, and now you were part of a NASCAR contingent that went to Walter Reed Medical Center in Washington, D.C. and visited with some of our injured and wounded servicemen and women.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible experience. I've been there the last 5 years, and I'll tell you what, it's, you know, it's so hard to go there and see these young men and women, what they've done for us. And they have gone and fought for our country and you know, have paid the sacrifice. And it's just a small part of what we can do to go back and visit them and recognize what they've done for us so that, you know, we can enjoy what we enjoy to do every week.
That was Thursday. Now let's talk about today's race. You start 5th. Your car looked good on the timesheets in practice yesterday. What are the prospects for you at this racetrack today?
Well, I don't want to be overconfident, but I think I have a really, really good car for today. I got my car yesterday, you know, driving the way I needed to drive. It's a little bit loose, and that's the term I like to use, and that's how I won a lot of races in 05. And I think turning in the center of the corner today with the sun out is going to be important, and that's the way I got my car.
He's trying not to jump up out of that chair and say, I'm ready to go.
I can't wait.
So you mean it's bad fast, that's what you mean.
It's bad fast.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Good deal. Congratulations on last week. We'll look forward to watching you today and watching you pursue this championship over the next 9 races.
Thank you, guys.
New Hampshire winner Greg Biffle, who is 3rd in the championship coming into today's race. We are just getting started on NASCAR Countdown. For more on what's coming up between now and the green flag, let's bring in those patrolling the pit area for us all day, starting with Dave Burns.
And Alan, I wonder if Greg Biffle ever followed Mark Martin around this place, because yesterday during our final practice show, Dale Jarrett said, if I ever had a young driver I'd want to show Dover and he'd want to learn something from an experienced driver here, I'd send him out to follow Mark Martin around the track. We'll talk to the 4-time Dover winner, Mark Martin, coming up. Jamie Little?
Well, Dave, for the first time this season, Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson find themselves atop the point standings. Now, Carl Edwards, we know how good he is on concrete tracks, including a win here 1 year ago. Jimmy Johnson has 3 wins at the Monster Mile. Both drivers find themselves starting mid-pack. I'll talk to both of them coming up. Shannon Spake?
Yeah, Jamie, it's 4-time Dover winner Jeff Gordon, who has some prime real estate down here on pit road, starting from the pole position. Now, this week, Jeff Gordon said this team just needs to take it race by race. Coming up in the show, I'll ask Jeff Gordon if he can take control of his chase destiny and end a 32-race winless streak here today. Mike Massaro?
Thanks, Shannon. You know, in 2006, Jimmie Johnson started the chase with a dismal 39th place finish. Then over the next 9 races, he put together a suffocating rally that garnered him his first championship. The question is, can Kyle Busch do the same thing? He's 8th in the standings, 74 points behind. We'll talk to him coming up. Alan?
Michael, thank you. All that's still to come. But when we continue, we talk to the man who considers Dover his home track and who scored a huge win here last season. New Jersey's Martin Truex Jr. is in studio with us when NASCAR Countdown continues from the Monster Mile in Delaware.
You boys see my sunscreen?
NASCAR Countdown on ABC. Brought to you by Pepsi. Wake up, people. Try Diet Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, maximum energy, 0 calories.
This racetrack is tough. It's tough on cars, it's tough on parts, it's tough on drivers.
Dover's really kind of a mixed bag. Even though you may run good there, you have to have a lot of good luck to finish races there and finish good.
The 11 just freaking ran all over you.
The concrete's real fun to drive on, I think. It stays real consistent. You can really fine-tune your car, your driving.
Woo, that's right. That is right. That was awesome, guys.
That track can really kind of reach out and grab you, and just things happen there.
That's Dover's version of the big one right there. Oh, man. The Monster Mile nickname might have been invented by the marketers, but if ever a track and a nickname fit, this one's it. These drivers will be on edge all afternoon racing this place because it's just different than a lot of tracks.
It's totally different than most tracks. Come on, Brad, get on board. Let's take a lap around.
Got my Hans device.
Okay,
Let's ride.
here we go. Down the front straightaway into turn 1 and watch us downhill into the bottom of the racetrack. A lot of cars are bottoming out right there. Now they're getting ready to exit turn 2, and this is a tough spot. 24 degrees banking right to 9 degrees. That's where a lot of cars really get loose.
Yeah, we talk about the straightaways here, the back and the front. Like you said, 9 degrees of banking on these straightaways. Unlike last week where we were at New Hampshire, you only had 1 degree of banking. So if you make a mistake, you get spun, you wreck, everybody bottles up, and you go to the inside.
9 times out of 10, if you spin at this racetrack off the corners, whether off of turn 2 or turn 4, you are going to hit that inside wall because the straightaways are banked, and it's so much narrower of a racetrack. So big problem right here at Dover.
You can run, but you cannot hide from trouble at this racetrack. You know, it's always special to race close to home. There will be an awful lot of people in the stands today from nearby New Jersey, hoping their hometown driver can make a return trip to Dover's Victory Lane.
For Martin Truex, this track is home.
I got to tell you, that little car has been amazing. How many laps has he led today?
Martin Truex Jr. is going to win his first Cup race.
Ah! Whoa! Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Martin Truex is the man.
And Martin Truex Jr. joins us now in our ESPN pit studio. Marietta, New Jersey is not all that far from here. You must have a lot of people in the stands today.
Yeah, we sure do. Looking forward to the race today. We always enjoy coming here to Dover. Won some nationwide races here. Won my first Cup race here, so it's always been special. Got a lot of people in the stands pulling for us, and hopefully we'll give them something to cheer about today.
Martin, it's no secret that last year your name was brought up a lot of people. I mean, you could have had a lot of different rides. There's just no doubt about that. But, you know, I watched you win this race last year here. Mark Martin's on the front row right now in that DEI car. Those cars, to me, just look like they're really fast. Whether Dale Jr. was in them or whether you and Mark are in them, with that win and the way Mark's running and all this stuff with DEI, is that what made you make a decision to come back? The performance or just the atmosphere to people? What is it?
It was all of it, I think. You know, I really believe in what we're doing. I believe in my race team. I believe in what the company's been doing. So I've been real happy with the position I'm in inside the company. Our cars are running great. I think we're just 2 or 3 things or mistakes away from making the chase again this year, and that's frustrating. But right now we're trying to get back to victory lane, and the guys are doing a great job back at the shop, building good cars, and we're working hard trying to move forward.
You know, whenever, Martin, I hear your name or hear that #1 car on the racetrack, it always gets my attention because I say to myself, all right, this cat's a wheel man. He's going to get up on it. Knowing that you are one of the boys, all right, you're not in the chase. Yeah. What do you focus on from here to the end of the season? What's your main focus?
Victory lane. That's it. Getting ready for next year. We need to win a race. We haven't really contended for a race win this year. That's been frustrating. Last year we were in contention for 4 or 5 wins. I know we only got 1, but we were running up front a lot, leading a lot of laps. This year we haven't done that. We've ran in the top 5 a bunch, but we haven't been that contender, and that's what we're working on doing.
Can you contend today?
Not sure yet.
Still working on it?
Yeah, we're still working on it. We made a few changes for the race, so hopefully we can. Our car was pretty good yesterday, but not good enough to contend for the win, so we made some changes.
Got a big had a big charity golf tournament up in your hometown, raised some money for some local charities, and all that went well?
Absolutely. It was incredible. That was our first really big foundation thing that we had. I could not believe the support of the local community, the sponsors from the community. Just the support was incredible. We had over 40 foursomes playing the golf tournament. We had over 300 people at the fan dinner. It was incredible. I got to thank all those people at home. It was really, really cool.
And I'll bet there'll be a bunch of them in the stands today cheering for that one car. Thanks for coming by and good luck today.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Former Dover winner Martin Truex Jr. starting 16th on this field. Qualifying was held here on Friday afternoon. The two drivers leading the championship, besides sharing the point lead, shared something else Friday. So-so results in time trials. Carl Edwards will start 22nd, while Jimmie Johnson was only able to qualify 20th fastest in the field on Friday. Jeff Gordon won the pole, his 4th at this track. We will talk to Jeff in a little bit. Jeff ran a mere 1/1000th of a second faster than Mark Martin, the 4-time Dover winner, who will start from the outside of the front row today. Let's hear from Mark. He's with Dave Burns.
And Alan, we've already established that Mark has won here 4 times. That was with the old car. With the new car, the last few qualifying runs haven't been much to crow about. This time you're on the outside of the front row. What happened?
Tony Gibson and DEI, U.S. Army Chevy, just fast race car. They've really given me great race cars this year. That made the 5th time I've qualified 2nd this year, and if I'd have just given it just a little more gas,
where was that?
We would have set on a pole, but I didn't, so it was a great run. It's a real privilege to represent the U.S. Army and work with Tony Gibson and all these guys.
Great run for Mark. You expect a great race today, Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, 2 top 10 finishes in a row, a little bit of momentum, but you've had your experiences here, ups and downs at Dover. What's your biggest concern as a driver 400 miles here?
This place is tough. It's physically demanding. It's one of the toughest tracks that you have to stay on top of the wheel all day, and your car's changing rapidly. You might be loose in one run, tied off on another, and so you're just trying to communicate with your crew the whole time and hoping guys give you breaks out on the track. And when guys don't give you breaks, it ends up being a long day.
Well, he had a good qualifying effort, qualified 4th. He made his Cup debut here 8 years ago. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. It is NASCAR Countdown from Dover, where the fans are in a festive mood, or is that festive? Awful lot of barbecue going on out in the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
On a beautiful mid-September day here in Delaware. They're getting ready for 400 miles on the Monster Mile in just a bit.
Drivers, 10 races, 1 championship. Who will it be? The 2008 chase for the Sprint Cup is officially underway.
Kyle Busch is the one that looks like he's still struggling with his race car.
Something broke. I think the sway bar just come unhooked.
Yeah, wow, he's just out of control there.
Robbie Gordon getting kind of hangs the tail out, and Jeff Gordon actually has to back up.
Tell them the next time I'm just knocking them off the jack.
Hard contact, 17, Matt Kenseth. How hungry is Greg Biffle? 33 races since Greg Biffle has gone to victory lane. Race number 1 in the Chase's history, and Greg Biffle wins it.
Get a man, Bev. Get a man. Woo!
Looking at how the 12 drivers chasing the NASCAR Sprint Cup fared in the New Hampshire opener a week ago shows pretty well to be the answer. 8 of the 12 getting top 10 finishes, with Boyer and Gordon 12th and 14th. Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth were the guys who had troubles last Sunday, finishing 34th and 40th respectively. Let's talk with some more of the championship hopefuls now. Shannon?
Yeah, down here with Clint Boyer. We're just watching the skydivers up in the air right now. But Clint Boyer starting 6th today, only your 6th top 10 starting position this season. But no matter where you start at this track here at Dover, a tough racetrack, a long race. How do you guys walk me through your preparation? How do you prepare mentally for such a grueling track?
Well, they don't call it a monster for nothing. I mean, this place is a monster, but it's just a grueling racetrack, and it is the same for everybody. Hoping that, as we learned yesterday in the nationwide race, the pace really did slow down, and the free race car really prevailed until you knocked the fenders off of it. But, looking forward to it. I think the Jack Daniel Chevrolet is good, and I think we'll have a good race.
Yeah, of course, he mentioned the nationwide race. He currently is a points leader, going for a championship in both series. Mike?
And Kevin Harvick's currently riding a career-best streak of 7 consecutive top 10 finishes. Specifically, where have the cars been better?
Well, I think they've just been better everywhere. I think everywhere from the chassis department, the engine department, everything's just different than what we've done before. So just proud of everybody on our Shell Pennzoil team, and just got to keep it up.
And Kevin Harvick, Dave, looking to continue that streak and perhaps put together his first Dover win today.
When Jeff Burton won here at Dover back in 2006, it broke a 5-year winless streak, and it put him into the Chase Championship lead. Jeff, can you accomplish the same two things today?
Well, I don't know. I feel like we're pretty decent. The track's going to be a lot slicker today, I think. But I was pretty happy with my car. We never could lay down a real fast lap time. But on lap 15 of a run, my car drove really nice. And typically, if our cars drive well, we race well. So I'm optimistic. It looked to me to be a few cars that were like crazy fast. But these are long races, and a lot of stuff can happen. So we'll just try to put ourselves in position and hopefully make some magic happen.
A consistent car can be very good here at Dover. Alan?
All right, David, thank you. A couple drivers have talked here this weekend about just how on edge a driver is all day. Rusty, what's that like inside the car?
Oh, it's really tough, and the reason it is, Alan, is because this racetrack is just very, very narrow, and it's banking all the way around the racetrack. So if you spin, you're going to hit something. And off of turn 2 and off of turn 4, it's a real treacherous part of the racetrack. You're constantly guarding yourself, and there's a lot of transition here. Take a look at Greg Biffle getting in a corner, bottoming out right there. I mean, that's what happens here. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Right here, bam. I mean, this car really
crazy, isn't it?
Bottoms out a lot, and the drivers have got to be aware of that. They got to know what's going on. Here comes Denny Hamlin, same thing, into the corner, all of a sudden, bam, another big bump. That happens here.
Absolutely. I spent some time with Clint Boyer the other day. We were talking about this racetrack. I said, what is it about this racetrack? He says, every lap, when you go off into the corners here, it feels like you're driving off the edge of a building, and it takes your breath every single lap. It does it all day long, and it continually gets your attention, and it just wears you out physically as well as mentally.
This is from the June race here. When things happen in front of you at Dover, I said this before, but there's no place to hide.
No, just like I said, it's so narrow on this racetrack, you just can't get away from it. I mean, you crash, somebody crashes, you're going to get into it.
Yeah, we don't talk about the big one enough here. We talk about it at the super speedways, but when you get sideways, turned around, wrecked here, it's going to be a big incident.
All right, still to come on NASCAR Countdown, we will take a look back at what happened to Kyle Busch and his car last Sunday at New Hampshire and how that left the points leader starting the chase with a hole to dig out of now. It is NASCAR Countdown from the Monster Mile in Dover, where the seafood population is diminished a little bit by a hungry TV crew all week.
That's some sad crabs. Yes, them's used crabs.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Next Sunday, the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup moves to Kansas Speedway. Very fast mile-and-a-half in Kansas City, Kansas. Greg Biffle, the defending winner of that race. Jimmy Johnson moved from 4th to the point leader with a 3rd-place finish at Kansas last season. What's going to happen this time? We'll find out next Sunday. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas. ABC coverage starting with NASCAR Countdown at 1 Eastern Time.
Carl Edwards has been the man.
He's the guy to beat.
As Carl Edwards takes the victory.
Man, that is awesome.
He goes back-to-back after winning at Bristol. Carl Edwards picks up his 3rd win of 2007.
Awesome job. Woo!
As Carl Edwards takes the victory. The day really has to belong to one Carl Edwards. Here he goes.
Just got the lead.
The bump and run.
Moved him out of the way.
Carl Edwards will come down and win in Bristol, Tennessee.
Carl Edwards talking to his teammates over here, running down the race today. Now, Carl, one time before, you told me at the end of a race, a long race like this, you can tell when somebody starts to mentally fade and start making mistakes. What kind of advantage does that give you being in the physical fitness that you are?
Well, we were just talking about how hot and slick it's going to be, and depending on how loose my race car is, I may be one of those guys at the end of this one. But, you know, I think anytime you can have a little advantage on somebody, you know, you physically or mentally at the end of these long races, it's good. But, you know, this is the toughest, most competitive form of motorsports, so there aren't too many of these guys that ever fade. But sometimes just wishful thinking. I'll imagine them getting tired in that car, and that seems to help me.
Well, he certainly has his work cut out for him, starting 22nd today. Alan?
Yeah, Jamie, Carl Edwards may be starting a little further back than he would like, but he had a good car in practice and has a great record on the concrete surface tracks like here in Dover. 3 wins, average finish just outside the top 10. That's strong.
That's very strong, and I love the way he tried to put off that physical fitness part of it. He doesn't want these guys to start getting up on the edge of that workout like he is so they can catch it.
Edwards, the defending winner of this race, something Carl and all the other drivers hope to avoid, getting involved in the Monster Mile mayhem that catches so many here so often.
The big one at Dover, the Concrete Canyon.
When you get in trouble here, buddy, it's big trouble. Come on, everybody, come down low, straight through.
It's scary to race here.
Check up.
It's like a bad roller coaster ride.
They just keep wrecking over here.
A melee.
That's Dover's version of the big one right there. Just know where to go at this racetrack when there's trouble in front of you.
Well, back in the spring race, it was lap 16 when Denny Hamlin found himself at the wrong place in the wrong time. How does knowing how easily you can get caught up in something here, how does that change the way that you approach this race?
Well, it changed our approach for the whole weekend. We qualified really bad that week, and we paid for it. We got in the wreck, a middle of the pack wreck. So we spent a little extra time on qualifying this week, and I think it definitely paid off for us. And so we're trying to eliminate one of the problems that could happen. That's track condition. We got that early, so if we can just maintain the first half, we should be fine.
Denny, they call this place the Monster. What makes it so physically demanding?
I tell you, this track, you can almost feel every crack in the racetrack. It's just very tough on you. It's very rough. The transition from the straightaways to the corners is a lot, so you get a lot of load, a lot of G-forces. So this is definitely, in my opinion, the most physical track that we go to.
All right, Denny Hamlin looking for his first win here at Dover, and he rolls off third. Alan.
All right, Shannon, thanks. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started off his championship bid last Sunday well, leading lots of laps and finishing 5th at New Hampshire. But after his car's handling went off late in the day, Jr. was somewhat harsh on the radio to his team, something owner Rick Hendrick says is not out of the norm, and also said he'd like to see change.
All right, fired up. Guys on the 88 real quick, congratulations. When we started this year, we wanted to win a race and make the chase, and you guys have done that. Now, that's 2 out of the way. Let's go get the last one. We'll win this thing. Good luck today, Dale. 10-4.
I love his enthusiasm and his grit. I want him to focus in the middle of the race and tell us what the car needs.
It won't roll the center as good as it needs to. Doing okay, though. Just a little snug center. 10-4.
If he can just focus, he's got a real shot at this thing, and stay tuned. It's going to get interesting.
Dr. Jerry Punch, Andy Petrie, and Dale Jarrett are upstairs in the broadcast booth getting ready to call the race. Doc, those comments by Mr. Hendrick about Dale Jr. focusing more and so on, that's something an owner and driver might talk about a lot behind closed doors. But for Mr. H to say them publicly, that was a little unusual.
You know, Alan, it's not your typical relationship between Rick Hendrick and Dale Earnhardt Jr., not a typical driver-car owner relationship. These guys are almost like their family, and sometimes in a family, some tough love has to be applied. When you care about someone, you tell them something they need to hear, not something they want to hear, and thus the story, the comments about Rick about trying to improve communications for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, one thing about Dale Earnhardt Jr. I love is his old school mentality. I love that. But his communication to the crew is a lot like what his father was when we were doing it back in the day. Now, the difference is that it's a different environment now. And this car is very, very technical and very difficult to get right. And that communication, it has to be a little different. You know, the biggest thing that these guys are during the weekend, the drivers for the crew chief, is that data acquisition system, which is not allowed on the cars. They're our main source of data.
Yeah, Andy, you're exactly right, and that's what makes it so difficult. These new cars are very, very difficult to drive and to give information back. You know, you're not sure if it's the splitter hitting, is it the bump stops, are you too hard on one spring and not another, and that makes it just so difficult to give that exact feedback. But, you know, there's two things that I see, and this isn't saying that Dale Jr. is not doing either one of these, but I see with these top race drivers, all of these guys have huge commitments, and probably Dale Jr. more than any other outside of the race car. But the two things that I see with these drivers that are winning right now, they're in the race car every single time that these teams go test and their car is testing. The other thing is, when they're not in the race car, they're in the gym getting physically fit, because these race cars are physically and mentally demanding.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is very talented. He's young. He's only 33 years of age, but there are those in the garage area who question his fitness, and Alan, is that a valid concern?
And Doc, it certainly has been discussed quite a bit around the sport in the last 7 days. As for today's race, Junior starts 10th at a track where he knows how to find victory lane. September 2001, the first NASCAR race held after the 9/11 tragedies and held at this track so close to both New York and Washington. It was Junior with a Stars and Stripes celebration after his win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is with Mike Massaro right now.
And catch it. Catching up with Dale Jr. right now. I know listening to you during practice, it sounded like they were throwing lots of things at the car at the tail end of practice. How good is it?
I think the car is pretty good. We changed a lot in that second practice. We were really good in the first practice and just trying to improve on that. And I feel like, we got a car that's definitely better than it was last time we were here. We should compete in the top 10, if not the top 5 all day long. Hopefully get up there and lead some laps and be there at the end, just like I always say.
Riding a streak right now, 2 consecutive top 5 finishes. What is your outlook now with 1 chase race in the book, 9 to go?
I'd just like to keep momentum going, keep the good finishes coming, really. Just being consistently up in the top 5 every weekend. I think if you can do that, it'll be hard to compete with him.
And Dale Jr. certainly knows how to get to victory lane here. He has won here back in 2001. Alan?
All right, Michael, thank you. Still to come on the Monster Mile edition of NASCAR Countdown, we will talk with today's pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. Winless in 08 thus far, his drive for 5 could get a big boost with a trophy here. We'll hear from Tony Stewart, a 2-time Dover winner, has got some work to do after qualifying 33rd. But up next, Kyle Busch. What happened in New Hampshire and how does it change his championship chase?
My favorite professional football team is the Washington Redskins.
The Washington Redskins.
Our congratulations to Joe Gibbs, the Redskins.
Joe Gibbs, I'd really admired him as a football coach.
I grew up a 49ers fan in the Joe Montana days.
Montana rolling out the right, looking toward the end zone.
San Francisco 49ers.
Throwing under pressure, throws his pass, caught by Clark. Clark got a touchdown.
Denver Broncos.
You can stand up and salute in Denver.
I met John Elway years ago.
The world champions live in your town.
My favorite NFL team is Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers have won Super Bowl 31.
Chiefs, man. It's the Chiefs.
Monday Night Football continues on ESPN with 2 favorites in the AFC. Brett Favre of the New York Jets making the trip out west to face Phillip Rivers, LT, and the San Diego Chargers. Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage starting at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. So 2 of the championship contenders had trouble at New Hampshire last weekend. One was the man leading the points going in, Kyle Busch, who went to New England with high hopes. Now comes to Dover 8th in the standings.
Here today we don't have the best of cars. Don't know whether it's me or the car or both or what.
Battle for the lead here, Carl's inside of Busch. See Jimmy Johnson trying to make the pass on Kyle Busch, who continues to fall back.
He has lost 19 positions in 25 laps.
Something broke. I think the sway bar just come unhooked. Open the hood, guys.
Yeah, wow, he's just out of control there. Oh, now he got it. Oh, man.
No, get it off. As I watch the field pull away. Made up 8 spots hanging in there, buddy. Sorry about that. We'll get to the bottom of it.
And catching up with the #1 seed in the chase, Kyle Busch, but you find yourself now 8th in the standings. What's this week been like for you?
Hadn't been like any other week. That's just, Monday was an off day, and then Tuesday was back to work at Atlanta, testing and stuff. And so from there on out, you just get back down to doing what you got to do. We had a couple appearances this week and stuff, and so here we are this weekend. Didn't feel too bad about things. Qualified 11th, so we'll see how today runs.
Of course, the key to winning a championship is being able to put those types of days behind you. Coming here, I would imagine, gives you some reason for optimism. A winner here back in June. How does this car this weekend compare to the one you had back in the spring?
Yeah, it's kind of the same as what it was. I think they changed the right side tire, so I think a couple guys kind of gained up on us a little bit and got a little bit better. But, we'll just have to see how it goes. Hopefully a top 10 car, and if we can do that, we can get a top 5 out of it and work on it some, maybe challenge.
Dover's been a pretty good racetrack for Kyle Busch. 5 top 5s and 7 appearances here.
He starts 11th today. So what exactly did happen to Kyle Busch's machine last Sunday? Let's go to the Chevy Cutaway car for an explanation. Tim Brewer?
Alan, I talked with Jimmy Maycar, the general manager at Joe Gibbs Racing, earlier this week. He told me exactly what happened. Folks, this is the anti-sway bar in the front of the car. Comes back hooked to this arm. But up underneath the car right here, you can see we actually have a turnbuckle right here. And what we actually do after neutralizing the sway bar, we come in here and tighten this jam nut. But unfortunately, when the guy reached under there to tighten the jam nut, the thing didn't get tight properly, so you probably had the edge of the wrench up on this turnbuckle right here. But when he didn't get it tight, as the race went on, 15 laps, the thing came apart. But Jimmy Maycar assured me that they were going to take procedures to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
All right, Tim, thanks. So because of what was basically a mistake in their race prep last Sunday morning, the 18 team is 74 points in the hole. How does that affect the team?
I don't think it's going to affect them a lot. I mean, they had that problem last week. They'll put that on their checklist. It won't happen again. And this guy just needs to keep doing what he's been doing, Alan, to get him where he's got now. I think it's something they got to brush off, but that was his one mulligan, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had an outstanding year this year, obviously. But the one question that was thrown out there right before we got into the chase, in particular by Jack Roush, was, does he have the capability to win a championship? Will they make mistakes? Will he overdrive the race car? Well, they get into the scenario last week, and he heard that. It has to be in his mind. They make that huge mistake, and all of a sudden he's sitting there looking at himself, oh my goodness, what has to happen for us to have luck as we go forward in this thing? But he's got enough mojo in that right pocket and that right foot, he'll get it done.
Brad, you know, one thing I did like about that, when we saw Joe Gibbs go to his car after Kyle pulled into the garage area after the race was over, Kyle stuck him, or Joe stuck his hand in there and calmed him down. He said, hey, buddy, it's okay. Things like that happen. I like that in Coach Joe Gibbs. I think he's really good for this kid.
One thing I bet you could say pretty safely, those checklists were gone over very thoroughly this morning,
you can bet.
in the garage area by Steve Addington, the crew chief for Kyle Busch. And again, Kyle starts in the 11th spot for today's race. Pre-race introductions ongoing, drivers being paraded around before this massive crowd at the Monster Mile. Wonder if Carl Edwards or Jimmy Johnson might be the ones to hold the trophy at the end of the day. Getting ready to go with race 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup from Dover, Delaware. Our coverage presented by Principal Financial Group from the Monster Mile. We are getting closer and closer to the command to start engines. Couple of news items from the week. Saturday morning, NASCAR announced changes to its substance abuse policy, basically introducing mandatory preseason testing and random testing during the season instead of the past policy of reasonable suspicion. Also, the Gillette Evernham team and Robbie Gordon Motorsports have dissolved their plans to merge, and the lawsuit that was filed involved in that's been dropped. Gillette will continue to pursue adding a 4th car, and NASCAR says it's completed the internal investigation related to allegations in the Mauricia Grant lawsuit, and the 2 officials who have been suspended during that investigation have been fired. Those 2 people, the only people to have been disciplined following the investigation. A couple of interesting things to me about the changes to the NASCAR drug testing program. All officials, all drivers must be tested prior to the start of the 09 season. Team owners must have all their licensed crew members tested prior to the start of the season. And then all drivers, over-the-wall crew members, and officials are subject to random testing throughout the year. You like it?
I think it's a great idea. Anyone who works in and around any of these race cars, and the drivers as well, they need to be tested. I mean, we're not talking about a stick and ball sport. We're talking about a sport where someone can lose their life. So it has to be the strictest of standards, and I think that's the way to go.
I'm glad they did this. I really am. I mean, one thing I can say for sure is this NASCAR organization has not had much problem whatsoever compared to other sports. That's for sure, compared to the rest of the sports out there. But you know what? Nowadays, there's a lot of employees here in NASCAR. I mean, you see some of these teams having over 500 people working for them. We haven't had that in the past. So I think it's really good they're getting on top of this thing and saying, hey, we're not letting nothing happen. But the question I do have, and a lot of drivers have also, what is illegal? There's energy drinks out there. There's additives. And NASCAR says we're not going to let anything get abused. So what is the defining role? And a lot of team members and, you know, drivers are wanting to know what's going on there, guys.
Yeah, a step forward, which I think is a positive step, certainly, is the introduction of the random testing. Now, let's talk to 3 drivers who are all chasing a championship, who have all won here at Dover before. First up, Tony Stewart. A couple of times he has gone to victory lane here in Dover, driving Big Orange into the winner's circle twice, both coming back in 2000. He started 27th in the first of those wins, and Dave, he starts 33rd today.
It's exactly what I was thinking about, Alan. One of those 2000 wins, he started 27th, so you know what it takes here to come from the back of the field, but just how tough is it starting 33rd today?
Well, you know, obviously what happened to us in the spring, it shows that you want to be a lot closer to the front to start with, but, you know, the good thing about this team is we've always run our best when we've started further back, so, you know, it's not how you qualify, it's how you race, so it may not be that one lap that was good, but we got 400 of them to make up for it.
And you and I were talking in that direction. The qualifying wasn't that great, but practice, you've gotten the car back to a very raceable car?
Yeah, it had real good balance to it, and today's going to be hotter and slicker, so I'm hoping that's going to make it a lot better for us.
Yeah, look for win number 3 here at Dover.
Catching up now with Matt Kenseth, a guy who certainly has to be looking forward to coming to Dover. How much of a morale booster is it coming to this racetrack, a track where you've been so good over the years?
Well, that's a good question, Mike. You know, we do look forward to coming to Dover. It's one of our favorite tracks to come to. We usually perform pretty well here, so you know, that doesn't really mean anything for today, but yet looking forward to today. We qualified really well. All the Roush Fenway cars seem to be pretty fast, so hopefully we can get up somewhere toward the front and start doing a little better than we have been.
How good is your car?
You know, I think it's okay. We were pretty competitive. It could kind of go either way. It's a lot hotter today than what it was yesterday, and this tire seems to be a little bit different watching the Nationwide Series race yesterday as far as how the track changes and the rubber cleaning off and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just have to see. I think it's going to be pretty decent, but we'll find out here shortly.
Alan, Matt Kenseth looking for a rally right now, 12th in the standings, but still 9 races to go.
Matt Kenseth in 8th place on the starting grid. Now, Jimmy Johnson tied with Carl Edwards for the championship lead. Is a 3-time Dover winner. This the most recent of them in 2005. The 2-time defending series champ, though, is back in 20th on the starting grid. Jamie, I don't think he's going to be there for long.
I don't think so either. We're going to talk to Jimmy. 3 wins here. What is your biggest concern starting 20th?
You know, I don't have a lot of concerns starting 20th. I think anything can happen on this racetrack, even on pit road. You know, everybody's smart. Everybody can. It seems like we had a lot of green flag running here last time, so I don't think that's going to be the biggest issue. It's just being smart all day long and not creating problems. The last 2 or 3 times we've been here, we've kind of gotten behind and had to charge hard. I've made mistakes on track. I've burned right front tires off the car. We've had, you know, just created problems throughout the day. So if I'm just smart and smooth, the day will be fine.
We were talking about pit road and how important it is to have communication with your crew chief. Tell me about Chad Knaus's role today.
Yeah, typically there's a given point coming into the pit box where Chad assumes responsibility of the car, guides me in, and then kind of gets me back out. But like we saw yesterday with Clint in that Nationwide race, you can be in an okay situation and not forcing the issue, and somebody's trying to blend out of their pit stall and it creates a problem. So I think a lot of guys took notice to what went on yesterday and are going to be smarter today.
Well, I'll be watching that. Alan, he has 2 wins, a 2nd place finish the last 3 races. I think it's safe to say this team has turned up the wick at the right time.
Oh, he'll be a factor, I think, by the end of the day for sure. Now for the driver who will lead this field to the green flag. Dover's been a great track for Jeff Gordon over the years. 4 times he's gone to victory lane, including a season sweep in 1996. Shannon, now would sure be a great time to get his first win of 2008 for Jeff, huh?
Yep, down here with Jeff Gordon, currently 11th in the point standings. Getting a wild ride around here in Dover. 99 points out of first, though, Jeff. You said this week it's all about small victories for this team. Obviously, the first victory was one, getting the pole. How close is the car to getting that 2nd victory today?
Oh, it's definitely close. DuPont Chevrolet's been fantastic this weekend. You know, we just been playing between loose and tight all weekend or yesterday for the race setup. You know, I think the car is definitely capable of it. This team's capable of it. Great start to the weekend being on the pole and a great pit stall. So we're just going to try to take advantage of those things. I think as the rubber gets laid down, you know, things are going to change, and we're just going to have to keep up with that. But the car's driving great. I'm very, very pleased with the progress that we've been making here lately.
Now, this past week, you showed up at a test that you were not originally scheduled to go to. What message does that send to your team right now?
Well, they're working hard, and I want them to know how much I appreciate it, and that you know, I'm going to work just as hard. You know, it's been an up and down season for us. It's been frustrating at times, and we recognize that. And, you know, the only way that we're going to get better is for all of us to be together and all of us to work really hard, and that's what we're doing right now.
All right, your 4-time Dover winner leads the field to green. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. If it sounds like a lot of the guys contending for the championship this year have won here before, it's because they have.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon 4 times right here.
9 out of the 12 championship chasers have been to victory lane at the Monster Mile previously.
That's incredible. I think Denny Hamlin might change that number of his today.
All right, so in looking at the 12 guys racing for the championship, just those 12, who needs this win the most? They all could use it. They all want it. Who needs it the most?
I personally think that Jeff Gordon needs it the most. I mean, this guy has not won a lot. I mean, he's the guy who needs to win really bad right now. He's on the pole position, so he's got a good qualifying position. His sponsors from up in this area, he needs to get it done right now. He's got the opportunity.
The guy who needs it most is Matt Kenseth. Since he started the chase, he says, we're not very good, we're not this, we're not that. If all the stars line up, he can have a 160-point turnaround today. He's only 177 point back.
That's a lot of stars. cars to line up.
He needs to get his mojo going today, and a victory would do that for him.
Well, what about Kyle Busch? The big hole he
He's got enough mojo, man.
He doesn't need it. He
No,
doesn't need it more.
He's won so many races this year. We need to be talking about somebody else.
He's the heat.
He's already got it done. I mean, another guy we need to look at is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy's a lot of talk going on about him right now, Brad. They say he runs real fast early, and then halfway through the race something goes wrong, gets tired, something we don't know.
Yeah, Junior needs a victory, man.
That's right.
You pick it up when I'm laying down. I'm telling you.
All right, let's dig into the what to watch for here today.
Right.
What are we looking for in 400 miles at Dover?
Oh, 400 miles at Dover. The areas you need to take a look at are the exits of the corner. I've been saying it all week long. Everybody gets loose. They spin out. The drivers are always on edge. I would say the exit of turn 2, the exit of turn 4, and the other thing they really need to take a look at is pit road. Pit road is one of the narrowest pit roads in all of NASCAR. We saw yesterday in NASCAR's nationwide race a little collision down there between a couple of the drivers. That could happen again today. I'll be watching pit road.
Yeah, and we're looking at it right here. These straightaways, I've talked about it 3 times today, but it's huge. The banking on these straightaways just creates so many problems whenever there's an incident. If you have a spin or if somebody gets sideways, you have a tendency to get into them, to try to get past them. And when you do crash, like Rusty said earlier, it all gathers down towards that inside wall, and you can come back up on the racetrack. It's just a mess.
So race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup's about to begin on the high banks of the Monster Mile in Dover. Last week the headlines were troubles for the championship leader starting the chase and a great race for the win. Today we've got some chasers starting up front. We got a couple of the point leaders starting in the middle of the pack. We got one way out in the back who's trying to come through the field, and we will need all 400 miles to find out how this plays out today. That's for sure.
I can tell you one thing. I've been in the back and I've been in the front. The front's better.
I bet it is. The opening ceremony is next after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
If you think that somebody's out there better than you are, they're going to beat you every time.
Whether the bad luck happens or the good luck happens, it becomes a situation of how the ball bounces.
If you bobble, you better hope somebody else bobbles too to keep you even.
Something broke. I think the sway bar just come unhooked. Wonderful.
They got to have a stroke of luck to get it back.
Running for the championship, you really got to run hard.
Tell them the next time I'm just knocking them off the jack. That's ridiculous.
But you also got to be careful.
Take a deep breath, folks. Gonna need you now.
I always feel like if you was a champion, all you want to do is win.
Get a man, Bev. Get a man.
And that's the only way that you can really look at it.
Hey, we're still in it. We got 9 more.
Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, David Pearson, the 3 winningest drivers in the history of Dover International Speedway's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing. Today, race number 2 in the chase for the 2008 championship goes green shortly. Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin each have 4 wins here, most among active drivers, along with Bill Elliott. They share the front row, while 2 drivers tied for the championship lead start midfield and hope to stay out of trouble till they can get to the front. Time to go trackside now for today's opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the colors on stage today, the Military District of the Washington Armed Forces Color Guard. Would you please rise and move your hats as I present to you Reverend Dan Schaefer, pastor of the Assembly of God in Hightstown, New Jersey, for today's invocation.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, we pause today to thank you for this beautiful day you've given to us. We thank you for the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. We thank you for Dover International Speedway and all the sponsors and all the race teams that are here today. And as we always pray, we pray for a great race. We pray for a safe race. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. Shalom.
And at this time, please remain standing as I present to you Big Machine recording artists Kate and Casey Coppola for today's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wasn't that terrific? And now the teams begin to get ready to go. The drivers will begin to buckle in, and on a beautiful day in Dover, Delaware, we will find out how race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup unfolds. Here comes the flyover. FA-18s, much to the delight of this huge crowd. The engines fire, the fields rolls onto the Monster Mile next.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. And Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. That's an American revolution.
July 6, 1969, the first big NASCAR race was run here in Dover. Richard Petty won it. There were 25,000 seats here then. 40 years later, there are 135,000 seats surrounding the Monster Mile, most filled with fans today to see the second race in the 2008 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Most of the title contenders have good records here. We will see after 400 miles who had a good day and who leaves mad at the end of the afternoon. Right now, let's go upstairs and get set for the call of today's race and say hello to Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Thanks, Alan. Nice job down there. Well, folks, here's how the points shake it after round 1 in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Only 99 points separate the top 11. Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards are deadlocked atop the standings. The big loser at Loudon, Kyle Busch, has fallen back to 8th spot after a 34th place finish. And take a note, folks, 6 of the 12 chase contenders will start 20th or worse. Could there be trouble brewing here on the High Banks concrete in Dover, Delaware? Hello, everyone. Along with Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And, folks, there's a reason this track is nicknamed the Monster Mile here, because back in the spring on lap 18, there was a 10-car crash that left 5 of our current chase drivers with a 35th or worse place finish. Now, if you're one of the 6 chasers starting toward the back of the pack today, how do you avoid trouble in the early laps?
It's really hard at this racetrack because you have more room to maneuver actually in the corners than you do the straightaway. And it's blind when you get to the straightaway, and it's a big funnel. All these cars are going to go to one spot, and that's what causes all these big wrecks. And these guys that are starting in the back have got to be careful.
Yeah, these guys have to be careful, not only on the start of this race, but for those that went over to the casino this week, they're hoping that they didn't use up all of their luck, because this goes all day long. On the restarts, and even as they get into traffic, it's going to be very treacherous. They have to be on top of their game all day.
The feel-good story of the weekend involves the 2 fan favorites on the front row, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin, who have combined for 75 starts and 8 wins here. Now, with one of these drivers in the chase and one not, could their strategies differ here today?
I don't think so, Doc. I think both of these guys really need a win. They're going to do whatever it takes to get it here today. I don't think you're going to see, even though Mark Martin doesn't have a lot to lose and Jeff Gordon potentially does because he's in the chase, I think they both go for the win.
Yeah, I think they got to go for the win. The only thing that could differ, end of the race, fuel mileage, Mark Martin can go for it a little bit more.
We are set. The drivers are getting buckled in as we go trackside for the command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for those most famous words in motorsports, I present to you the chairman and CEO of Camping World, Mr. Marcus Lemonis.
If you're proud to be an American, get on your feet and make some noise. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Crank them up, gang, crank them up. Fired up. All right, fired up. Let's have some fun. All right, have a good day out there, guys. We get solid pits out there. Let's go win this thing.
Engines have fired, and 43 of NASCAR's finest are set to hunker down for 400 laps on the Monster Mile. Our in-race reporter today grew up about 2 hours from here in Mayetta, New Jersey. and fittingly collected his very first career Cup win here in 2007. When we come back, we'll visit with Martin Truex Jr. from the starting grid. Back in just a moment. Welcome back to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group. Our starting grid, Jeff Gordon managed to pick up his third pole of the year by just 1/1000th of a second over outside front row starter Mark Martin. And now while you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the Bass Pro Shop Chevy, Martin Truex Jr., who starts 16th here today.
Martin, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have copy?
Yeah, go ahead, Dale.
Martin, we heard you say in the countdown show that your car was not where it needed to be at the end of practice. What was your main issue, and what changes have you made to correct it?
No, Dale, our car was pretty good for about 5 or 6 laps, and it just seemed to fall off too quick. It lost grip too fast, so we've done some things with our air pressure to try to help that. I think the track's going to be a lot slicker and slower today as we run here, so hopefully we'll have something we can work with.
Hey, Martin, our second question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and Fernando in Columbia, South Carolina would like to know, as a former chaser, you know what's at stake. Will you race the chasers differently today at your home track than at other tracks?
I'll be as nice as I can be to them, but we're trying to get this Bass Pro car victory lane at the same time, so we'll see what happens. I race them guys clean every week, no matter what the circumstances, and I don't expect to do any different today.
All right, Martin, thanks. Have a great day, and now Andy's going to talk with your crew chief, Kevin Mannion.
Hey, Bono, Andy Petrie, you got us up here?
Sure do, man.
You guys are in that hot spot, I call it, on pit road, right there where everything funnels down. How are you going to keep the fenders on this thing on pit road?
Well, the Bass crew hopefully have some good pit stops today. This pit road, if you're not in box 1, it's a hot spot everywhere here. So we're right on a timing line here on pit road. So we thought we got one of the best spots, and we'll just see what happens.
Okay, Bono, good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
Everyone knows the Monster Mile can bite you in a lot of different places. For more, let's go down to the pits. First, here's Shannon Spake.
Yeah, Doc, as you just said, they call this place the Monster Mile, but in fact, one of the most treacherous locations on this track is right here, the entrance to pit road. When these guys are coming down, especially under green, trying to get slowed down to pit road speed, navigating their way down the banking, it could be extremely treacherous. How so? Just ask Ryan Newman, who in 2004 found out the hard way. What about Matt Kenseth, who later that same season felt the wrath of this pit road entrance? And once the guys do get slowed down and on to pit road, it is just the beginning of their unpredictable journey. Isn't that right, Mike Massaro?
That's right, Shannon, and that journey gets even trickier as they make their entrance into their pit box. These boxes are some of the shortest and narrowest on the circuit. Certainly a challenge, but adding to that, consider this. The distance from the outside of the pit box to the wall, only 25 feet. These cars are about 6.5 feet wide, so it's difficult to go too wide down this pit road. It's such a challenge that crew chief Chad Knaus told me earlier this morning it's the most difficult pit road on the circuit and made an ominous prediction. He said he predicts one of the chase drivers will have problems on pit road getting into their box today. Jamie?
Well, Mike, once the team has serviced their car, he's off the jack stands. He's far from over and far from being clear. That was the case of the nationwide race last night. You saw Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards on the exit of pit road. Because it's so narrow, they got together. That's something we see happen at Dover quite a lot. Now, Jimmy Johnson just said a little while ago he was watching that nationwide race. All these teams are heads up that this is going to happen. So the bottom line, they have to have great communication with their pit spot, with their spotter upstairs, their crew chief on the box, and of course the driver always has to be heads up. Dave Burns?
Jamie, recall what happened to Jeff Gordon last week at Loudon on pit road. Even though it's a very wide pit road, a car blocked him in on a couple different occasions, and he lost valuable positions on pit road. That didn't make anybody on his team very happy. This week, he's got a much better situation. By qualifying on the pole, we've already talked about it. He has the first pit stall, and no one will block him in. He is the last one on pit road. He's the first one out, and nobody to stop his progress leaving pit road. Doc?
Thanks, guys. In the heat of the action, providing our over-the-wall coverage will be Michael Waltrip's front tire carrier, Chris Hall. There's Chris getting loosened up down on pit road. We will take you inside the action throughout the afternoon with onboard cameras on 8 different cars, including 5 of the chase contenders. This is a 400-lap, 400-mile race on a high-banked concrete oval in Dover, Delaware. This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button presented by ESPN Deportes. For decades, drivers have called this place the Monster Mile. They know it as a 3-story high concrete cage that can crash cars and crush championship dreams in the blink of an eye. 43 drivers have visions of victory. 12 are also thinking championship. But can they escape the wrath of the monster? We are all about to find out together. Jeff Gordon not wasting any time to be aggressive early on. You can stay out of trouble if you can stay out front.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier when you can get that jump like he got on the start of the race. I think Mark Martin just wanted to get himself down to the bottom of the racetrack. He made that difficult. He lost a couple of spots in trying to do that. Denny Hamlin moved up to the second spot.
It's a long race. Got trouble already. Man.
Kurt Busch slams the wall here on lap 2, so it's car number 2 on lap 2. There's Paul Menard spinning, and Michael Waltrip gets by him.
Yeah, that's the kind of things that happen you see there.
Especially left rear.
Right there, things happening behind the actual accident that happens. We'll have to take a look. We weren't looking right at that when it happened and see if there was some contact that created this situation for Kurt Busch, who was very optimistic.
I gave him plenty of room, didn't I? He just washed right up the hill, man.
Happened in the corner, so these guys had a little bit of room to work around this. If this had happened off the corner into the straightaway, we would have seen a lot more people probably in this.
Yeah, I think it's the 38 car, David Gilliland, who he's talking about, that he gave room down into the corner. You see him race side by side. David Gilliland just gets loose going into turn 1, and we talked about this all weekend long of how difficult it is entering these corners. You overdrive it just a little bit, the car bottoms out right there, and the next thing you know, you're up into the car beside you.
Kurt Busch had a great qualifying effort starting outside of row 2, and now he brings out the first caution of the day. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Dover, working caution for the first time today. Now, rarely do we get to deliver our All-State Good Hands move of the race on lap 2, but not today. Watch this move by Tony Stewart.
Yellow's out. Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Man, that could have been devastating to his championship hopes. Paul Menard spun right in front of him. Tony did a great job of avoiding that.
Coming out of turn 4, headed back to the green flag. Jeff Gordon, our pole sitter, has led all 4 laps thus far. There is Kyle Busch, moving on the bottom of the racetrack inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That is for 8th spot.
And we watch these guys. They're single file now, and I can assure you that these drivers, as long as they weren't a part of the first caution, they were glad to see one that they can get single file and race now instead of having to be 2 and 3 wide all the time.
Carl Edwards, remember these guys qualified back in 20th and 22nd. There's Edwards in the 99 car making a move. He is now in 19th position. That's Burton behind him at 31 and 20th.
He's chasing that 48 car up ahead of him. Jimmy Johnson's making some ground too early. These guys don't want to stay back there too long.
No, they don't. We see back there the 31, the 6, and the 29 all battling. And we heard Jeff Burton say earlier that his car was good. It wasn't that fast on the start, but he really liked what happened after 15 laps. So we'll have to watch his progress. See Carl Edwards trying to pick up another spot off of turn 4.
This car looked great in happy hour yesterday, and it's going to be fast right off the bat.
He goes around Ryan Newman, and next up for Carl Edwards would be Jimmy Johnson in the 17th position. There's Jimmy in the 48 car.
Yeah, you can see the 28 getting loose. You see Dale Jr. right here passing Kyle Busch and taking the spot away from him.
These guys are going back and forth. It was Junior, then Kyle, then back to Junior.
Yeah, this 88 car was the fastest car in the first practice session yesterday. In happy hour, they tried a few things and didn't seem to be quite as good. Must have gone back to what they had in the first practice.
And you could hear with Kyle Busch's onboard there, him losing a little traction up out of turn 2.
Now you can hear that engine rev up over those little rises.
Dave?
Talked to his crew chief, Steve Addington, this morning about the car. He said we're pretty close. We went back to the most than the fastest setup we had, but we wanted Kyle to be comfortable all day long. And now we think we're capable of running with them. I said, who's them? Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, and Jimmy Johnson. Those are the 3 cars that they think they'll have to beat today.
He was awfully good back in the spring. Here is the 16 car he was talking about, Greg Biffle, and battling side by side with Mark Martin for position. And that is the 3rd spot that Biffle has taken away.
You can see Mark kind of clipped the apron there getting down into turn 3, and that shot him up the racetrack a little. Now Matt Kenseth trying to take that spot away from him. Mark was trying to get the spot away from Greg Biffle.
Here comes Jamie McMurray also, and he's one of the guys that I thought would be a sleeper today. He's one of those Roush drivers that is very good here at this track.
McMurray has 5 top 10 finishes at Dover and 11.
Oh, we got trouble off 2.
And car sideways.
Oh, Carl.
Right in front of the 99 is the 10
Carl
car.
Edwards got a piece of that.
Yeah, Patrick Carpentier loops around.
I did everything I could there.
Yeah, I think he's going to have left front and right front damage. Now, speaking of Carl Edwards.
Not real bad. I'm going to stay out.
He made a move towards pit road and then decided to stay out. He feels it's not bad enough to come in early. The penalty for pitting early is to go to the tail end of the longest line, and he wanted to go ahead and avoid that.
It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Just the bumper. Didn't even hit the fender.
Now watch the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, try to get through. He's right behind Carpentier.
Yeah, you can see him get loose right there. Jimmy Johnson down on the inside, so he's just hoping that he does. Oh, wow. How close is that?
If he just clips the right rear corner of that car right there, it's going to shoot Jimmy Johnson in the wall, and then you see Carl Edwards get just a piece of that.
Yeah, I thought Carl actually got the outside wall when I first saw it, but he didn't. He didn't touch that. I think he just gets a little bit in the left front here.
Watch it here. Stay low. Watch him to go high. Go high.
Wow, wow.
That's a hard decision to make right there in the day. When you got to see which way do you go?
I can't even tell you how difficult that is. Carl Edwards did a fantastic job. You know, coming off the corner, though, that generally these cars go to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see Carl just hit him with the left front. But we've seen how tough these race cars are, Andy, so I don't think that's going to hurt him.
I'm amazed how much these cars do take. That was a pretty good lick.
Greg Biffle now on pit road. He will come down and get service on last week's winner, Dave.
Even though Greg Biffle may have been making up positions on the racetrack, his communication to crew chief Greg Irwin was, I can't even drive it. They need an air pressure adjustment up in the left rear, down to the right rear, and 2 rounds of wedge. The car not operating like it was yesterday for Biffle.
Tony Stewart has been on pit road in the 20 car. 2-time champion. There's Montoya. You see Stewart coming down, and he will head back on to the racetrack, working caution for the 2nd time today. Back at Dover under caution. Let's listen into the radio here for Carl Edwards.
It felt like it hit the left rear too, though.
The sail panel's got some paint scrapped off of it, but it's still straight. It didn't even move it.
All right, 10-4. Well, if there's, I guess we'll just keep track of it. Fix it as early as we can if we need to, but we'll just keep track of it. You're sure there's nothing on the tires?
No, I can still see the paint. I can still see the paint on the tire.
They left him on the racetrack, Andy. Would you have been that gallant to leave him out?
No, I probably would have brought him in just because it's early, and you can take yourself out of this thing if you leave him out there and have a problem. If you come in right now and get it fixed and get some tires, you know, you do have an uphill battle, but you don't take yourself out of contention.
Getting set for the restart here, lap 16, the Camping World RV 400. Jeff Gordon has led all 16 laps thus far. Under that second caution of the day, we had 17 cars come on the pit road, including Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, and a few others.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch. Those guys put themselves back there in kind of a hornet's nest, and it'll be interesting to watch them as they come up through.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see Greg Biffle. I mean, I was surprised to see Greg Biffle come down pit road.
That shows just how bad his car was. This is a long race, so you know if he's got a good car, it's no problem in getting lapped or anything. And it's a lot hotter today than what they faced yesterday in those practice sessions.
It seems like a trend has been developing with this new car that every race day the cars seem to be looser than they were in practice. We're hearing that out of Greg Biffle. Even though his car looked competitive, he said he was very loose.
Jeff Burton, the 31 car, now having moved up from his qualifying spot to 17th. Remember, Jeff Burton typically doesn't qualify well, but he's there in the top 10 or the top 5 when this race is over. He started 38th in the spring and finished 8th.
Yeah, he's going by Elliott Sadler there. I talked to Elliott yesterday. He was not very happy with his car after practice. They were going to make a few changes, but just didn't know exactly where to go. As we see Dale Jr. trying to pick up another spot here on Clint Boyer. That's for the 6th spot.
He's marching to the front.
Yeah.
44, David Rudeman back there behind the 07. Again, Rudeman back in 8th. Kyle Busch sticking into the picture behind him in 9th spot.
Rudeman trying to make the outside work there. And, wow, this team's really been on a nice little roll here, especially the last 3 weeks. Having some good finishes, running up front. Good for David Rudeman in that UPS Toyota. Shannon?
Yeah, I was speaking with David Rudeman's crew chief, Ryan Pemberton, today. He said, there's been a lot of attention paid to this team, especially because they've been running so well, just as you said, Dale. He said that really there's 2 reasons. One, the new generation of car that Michael Waltrip Racing debuted at Pocono. He said number 2, we're really acting proactively rather than just reacting as to what happens on race weekend. He said we're thinking outside the box in the shop, and that really has helped this team a lot.
Oh, I think, and I'm going to give some credit to the driver too. I think that they're finally now, and you talk about that new car, that they're catching up to David Rudeman's talent with the race cars, and I think that is finally going to pay off for them.
What paid off for him was that performance at Richmond where he led 104 laps on the 3/4 mile short track. 70 car, Tony Raines had a good qualifying effort trying to hold on to 13th position. In front of the 12 car, Brian Newman.
Yeah, he's got these guys bottled up behind him there. They're trying to see Ryan Newman trying to make a pass on the inside, but Tony Raines is running good. You see Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick are both in the chase in that battle too. It's awfully difficult to get that run up out of the corner. You see Tony Raines running a little bit higher line, but that carries a lot of momentum, and now Ryan Newman's got to the inside of him entering the corner.
And you put yourself in a little bit of a bad situation when you've got cars bottled up behind you and a big gap in front of you. Some of these guys can get impatient and move you.
Couple of Roush Fenway teammates as Kenseth moves up, and the McMurray, the guy you kept talking about all morning as your sleeper, makes the pass.
Yeah, he's a great here at this racetrack, and they got a good car. Looks good early.
Dave?
Talking with Larry Carter this morning, he said, Dover's always been a good track for Jamie, and the statistics back that up. 5 top 10s here, including finishing 2nd in the June 2006 race. So Jamie is confident when he comes here. His Roush Fenway car is running very well.
Had a very good run in the nationwide race yesterday. Here's a group now, a couple of chasers on the bottom. That's Burton and Harvick trying to get by, and Jeff Burton finally does pick his way by. Kevin Harvick hasn't been so lucky thus far.
We see Jamie McMurray going by Denny Hamlin for that 2nd spot. Sandy, you got the man on the march right now.
What has gotten into these Roush Fenway guys? We saw what happened last week with Biffle being so good. Edwards has been good the last month, and now McMurray. We had 4 Roush Fenway cars in the top 5 of that final practice session yesterday.
I think it's just working like it's supposed to. These guys are supposed to be talking to each other and comparing notes. They seem like they will have a good car at almost every race. So these guys getting together with those guys and making all the cars good.
You see Kenseth trying to take that 3rd spot away. He needs a really big day today if he's going to have any chance of getting himself back into this. You see he was trying the outside, nose goes to the inside. And I think another thing that these guys have on their side is Doug Yates building engines. I think he just gets stronger as you go on. Mike?
Yeah, DJ, you mentioned that Matt Kenseth needs a big day, and you can understand why. Crashes at Richmond and Loudon leading into this. Finds himself in a 177-point deficit, but this has been a very good track for Matt Kenseth over the years. I spoke with Chip Bolin about the morale of this team coming in. He says it's okay. They're very experienced people. They've all been here before. He said we've already rallied once this year, and he pointed to the fact that back in the spring in Richmond, they were 24th in the standings, and over the course of the regular season, they rallied back to qualify for the chase. They said they have that type of rally in them, and they can come back in this chase with 9 to go.
The bottom fell out for the 17 car a year ago here when they lost an engine about lap 300 after leading a lot of laps. And here comes the 26 car. He is like being shot out of a cannon. Watch McMurray has just reeled in Jeff Gordon.
He's flying, and he's using every part of the racetrack. He's up high, he's down low. Doesn't matter where he goes, this car seems to be stuck up underneath him here.
Yeah, if you saw our nationwide race and the coverage yesterday, Jamie was our in-race reporter, and he talked about how much he enjoys racing. That car's loose. He's driving the wheels off of it, too. He wants to lead this race. Yeah, he hasn't had a lot of success this year. When you get a good car at a place you enjoy, you want to take advantage of it. He looks to the high side of Gordon coming off a 2.
Gordon says, man, just go ahead and take it.
Dave?
Well, Jeff Gordon called it himself. 2 laps ago, he reported his car as being real loose. And he told his crew chief, Steve Letarte, we're going to get our butts kicked here. This car is too loose. And Jamie McMurray just kicked his butt right there.
And there's another trend that you're talking about. These cars getting looser than what they have been. Be interesting to see if he can hold on.
You're watching ESPN on ABC. Jamie McMurray currently leads the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group. After Jeff Gordon led the first 30 laps, McMurray just pulled away. There's the differential. He is just setting sail.
Yeah, he's running some really quick lap times right here, and the only one I see on the board is Mark Martin that's able to run those lap times right now. Mark Martin is in 4th spot, though.
Yeah, Jimmy McMurray's only less than a half a straightaway. He's got about 15 or 20 race cars that he's going to encounter trying to lap, and they're racing hard.
That'll slow him up.
99 car, Carl Edwards on the move. Our co-points leader coming into the weekend. Jamie.
He sure was, and it doesn't seem to be bothering him. That rear end damage we're talking about, he sustained. The team elected to keep him out. So far, so good. Bob Osborne, his crew chief, told me this morning, this car is better on the long runs. They were fastest in happy hour yesterday. That was something they discovered. As long as this thing stays green, he's going to continue picking them off. Right now, guys, 8. Kyle Busch is his next victim. Dave?
Hey guys, the 16 of Greg Biffle right now trying to pick up position since that restart. Hasn't said anything on the radio right now. They're just trying to make sure they get back through traffic without incident. Greg restarted in the 27th position, so he's already made up over 10 spots, so he is going quick.
Yeah, Greg's coming along pretty good. He's about a half a lap behind, but he's going to be able to close that gap in a couple of minutes because Jamie McMurray gets to the back of this of the field to start lapping them.
And here's a guy that's got the comeback award thus far of the day after being involved in an incident on lap 2. Kurt Busch got a lap down, got the free pass to get back on the lead lap, and he has now come all the way from 42nd up to 26th position.
I tell you what, guys, I think the rear bumper getting knocked off that 2-car, Kurt Busch, is actually helping. That thing really hangs down into the wind. A lot of the drivers I've talked to, they said if they can relieve the pressure underneath that car, should go faster in a straightaway. It's not hurting Kurt Busch at all right now.
Yeah, we've seen cars look better. This car looks ragged, but that does seem to help to get that back bumper off. You know, you really want to raise it up. I mean, that would help more than anything. You take it off, and it does actually help the aerodynamic.
Back up front, Jamie McMurray in the 26 car. Started in 9th position and has now led the last 12 laps. Dave.
We mentioned he raced in the Nationwide Series race yesterday, finished 8th, but really had a top 5 car and had a pit snafu during one of the stops. So what about the car today? What's he saying about it? Here's what he said.
You're going to be pretty fast right here, so take care of your tires a little bit. Yeah, I'm just cruising. Pretty loose, in and off still, tight middle.
Crew Chief Larry Carter can take care of that, but when a driver is just cruising, even in a crazy place like this, guys, it's a good thing.
I can assure you, it's nice when you got a car that you can just cruise with, and he's cruising around here faster than anybody else right now, I'll assure you. But he's put a couple of cars a lap down, the 96 of Ken Schrader and Kyle Petty.
Yeah, he's going to have his hands full here, and he's got to work pretty hard to get by these lap cars. But the other guys are going to have to work their way through the lap cars, too.
Jamie's last win came 45 races ago at Daytona in rather dramatic fashion in July of 2007.
Yeah, what we see with Jamie, he's able to go to the bottom or to the top to pass these cars, and that would be very beneficial to him here today.
Back in 9th and 10th, a couple of chase drivers. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, there he comes by in 9th spot, and the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 10th.
Yeah, Junior started off running down to the bottom. We see he's moved up the racetrack quite a bit. Pretty high on the racetrack, trying to get a run down off the corner where he can get his car straighter. So I would say that he's fighting the handling a little bit right now.
Well, one thing I'm seeing is the lap times are slowing way down. The fastest lap that Jamie McMurray ran in the race was a 23.96. He's now running 25.60s, passing these guys. So they're going to be looking for places on the racetrack that can help them where they don't fall off so much.
Yesterday we saw in the Nationwide race the new right side tire that Goodyear brought for the Cup and Nationwide cars actually got better the more they ran on it.
Well, this car is so much harder on right side tires, and you know, one of the things this track has been is hard on tires. It's always been one of the hardest tracks we go to. And a lot of times the teams will do things that'll tempt you, you know, that you can make the car go through the corner, like put more camber in the right front or some A-frames that would accelerate that. We see Jimmy Johnson, his car looks like it's working pretty good.
Start looking at that high groove up there. The 88's moved up there, and he's clicking off some good laps.
One of the things that you look for is that you don't want to see tire problems. And that's one thing that guys have to be a little more conservative here so they don't cause problems.
Yeah, I think, Andy, what you said was key. This car is harder on those right side tires, and the other factor is that it's quite a bit hotter here today, so it'll be interesting to see as we see Clint Boyer trying to make a pass on Dale Jr. right now for that 10th spot.
Boyer makes the pass and goes by. Now Martin Truex will begin to move in on the 88 car. We mentioned that Earnhardt Jr. was the fastest car in the afternoon session yesterday, but in the late session, they totally changed the car around, and he was still 8th quickest.
Yeah, they probably went back to what they had, and the track is a lot different right now, though. Just by looking at these lap times, they're so much slower than they were in happy hour. We saw the 07 of Clint Boyer early in the race. He was actually in the way, and now we see him going back to the front.
And we heard Martin Truex, who's right behind Dale Jr. there, say that this race was going to slow down quite a bit, and so he was hoping that he could get his car good. As things slowed down, his car might not slow down as much.
Tony Stewart, who had a pretty remarkable comeback at New Hampshire last week after a cut tire, put him back to 36 and a speeding penalty back to 30th. He still managed a top 10 finish. Shannon.
Yeah, Tony Stewart started this race 33rd, guys. He came and pitted on lap 13, and that was just to check that grill for some grass. He, of course, had to go through the grass to avoid the wreck between Kurt Busch and the 15 of Paul Menard. The temperature was up to about 240. Right now, all is good with the temperature. The car is just a little bit tight for Tony in the middle and at the end of the turn.
Yeah, Tony's trying to make a pass on Michael Waltrip, who's running really well. He was running 19th right there before Tony went by, but Michael's as high on the racetrack as any other car here, and that's pretty typical of Michael. He likes to get up there and let his car roll and then really drive it hard off the corner, and just say that he's down on the bottom, but in previous laps he had been up there pretty high, especially down in turns 1 and 2.
He had gained 20 spots since the start of the race. But right now what I see is the track changing some, and some of these guys that were good earlier are fading, and some of the guys that were not good are going to the front.
Biffle, remember, he's one of the guys that made the pit stop, one of the 17 cars that came in and made the pit stop. Restarted in 27th position back on lap 17. And now Greg Biffle, last week's winner, finds himself in 13th position.
You know, come in and get those tires. If you can have a long green run, you can really make up a lot of spots because these other guys have older tires than you, and so this can be beneficial to you. We see Dale Jr. losing about 3 spots right there.
Dale Jr.'s car just going away as he is backsliding now through the field. He'll be shown back in about 15th position. 54 of 400 laps in the books here at Dover. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
ABC's Emmy-nominated Dancing with the Stars returns tomorrow night with a 3-night live premiere event. Warren Sapp, Misty May Traynor, Maurice Green among the 13 new stars competing in what promises to be the biggest and most demanding season yet, only on ABC. Jamie McMurray is the leader of today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Dover International Speedway. He's out by a second and 7/10 on Jeff Gordon. McMurray and Gordon, the only 2 drivers to have led thus far. Greg Biffle, been keeping an eye on him. Rusty, he pitted from 3rd position under the caution back at lap 14, went back to 27th, and boy, is he picking his way back through the field.
I'll tell you what, he put tires on that car, Alan, just drove that baby all the way up through the field, and so it's proven to me right now, new tires really mean a lot. The cars have almost fell off 2 seconds from the start of the race. This soft right side tire is really starting to slow up. I like that type of racing, though, but Brad just building a lot of rubber build up on the outside of the track now.
Absolutely, and they're trying to keep a lot of pressure off that right front tires. We saw yesterday in the nationwide race. It's very important to take care of that right front, and most of our chasers are doing that, as all of them are in the top 17.
So the Biff in his Ford up to the 11th spot after the pass on Martin Truex Jr. And let's go up to speed presented by Ford and check out some of the other drivers. Wait a minute, we got somebody in trouble. We do. Joe Nemechek. Well, there's all the telltale signs of right front after a long green flag run. Weren't you just saying that?
Just talking about it.
All right, caution is out, 3rd time in the race. And Doc, we said it, it happened.
We saw it yesterday, AB, and now Joe Nemechek is the victim here. Third caution of the day, lap 64. And he brings the remains of his Chevy down pit road, heavy right side damage. That will allow these guys, these 26 cars that did not come on pit road a little bit ago, to now come in and get some fresh tires.
Oh, yeah, and they want them bad because lap times have really slowed up. And a lot of guys are not happy with their car.
Yeah, and that's about the same time as yesterday, Andy, that happened. Elliott Sadler's going to get the free pass here, but about the same time that happened yesterday. So they could have been one of those guys that need an adjustment, maybe some extra camber there.
Yeah, they may have had just a little bit too much. It's so tempting here to do that because there's so much speed to be gained. But boy, it sure is risky.
Here they come down 35 miles an hour. The first time the lead group has actually all come on to pit road. Mike.
And Matt Kenseth will lead him down pit road. Remember how tight these pit boxes are. Pay attention to that. Matt Kenseth saying he's a little bit loose. They're going to try to tighten him up with a wedge adjustment. They also were pretty secret about their changes. Chip Bolin told Matt, we're going to make those left side adjustments we talked about. And 4-tire change as well. Jamie?
4-time winner here. Mark Martin pulls into the pit box. They wanted to concentrate on 4 tires and fuel this run only. No adjustments because of how tight the pit road is. That's all they did. Dave?
Leader Jamie McMurray is leaving pit road now, almost a block in there. He said to his crew chief Larry Carter, whatever you do, don't get carried away. They put in a quarter of the air pressure change they were talking about that they started the race with. So just a slight adjustment for McMurray.
Matt Kenseth's crew getting it done again this week. They up 4 spots, and Hamlin up 4. McMurray loses 4 positions on that exchange on pit road. Here's why we were under caution for the 3rd time today. The 78 car coming at you. Heavy contact for Joe Nemechek's Chevrolet. Back with a restart from Dover in just a moment. Back at Dover, Delaware, under caution for the 3rd time today. Lap 67 of 400. The 78 car Joe Nemechek going up across the racetrack and tagging the wall. Leaders have been on and off pit road. A couple of guys have been clocked at speeding leaving the pit road. The 19 of Elliott Sadler, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, one of our chasers, clocked at 40.14 miles an hour in the final segment of the pits. Pit road speed is 35. They give you 5, and that's anything over 40, you get flagged.
Yeah, that's going to hurt Denny Hamlin quite a bit. Elliott Sadler, who got caught, he's going to be at the back anyway because he got the free pass there. So didn't hurt him that time. So I guess he'll learn that he can't go. He's going to have to get another tack reading this time.
AB, the 26 car was our leader, and they struggled a little bit in the pits a moment ago.
Yeah, and Doc, we were just taking a look at some replays on this pit stop to see if we could come up with particular reasons why. But the first thing that stands out, notice the difference in the uniforms. Driver changing, the gentleman changing the right rear tire. Remember that Jack Roush swapped out some crew people. Had a couple guys on the 99 and the 17 that he wanted to make a little bit stronger for the championship, so he swapped some guys out with this 26 team. They had some particularly strong people there. And so Jamie McMurray comes into this race losing a couple of spots on pit road while he was leading the event. And oh, by the way, this probably didn't help anything either, huh?
Oh, it really doesn't. Look at that. He's got to back up the 18 car of Kyle Busch, and Jamie McMurray had to really go around the outside of Kyle Busch, so it was tough on both of them.
Nastiest pit road on the circuit, isn't it there, DJ?
There is nowhere that's worse than this. These pit boxes are so small, just no room to maneuver these cars around. Especially these are even harder to get in and out of the pits.
Matt Kenseth being shown as the leader. Remember, he dominated this race a year ago, leading 192 laps, only to have the engine come apart at lap 374. And after great pit work, that put him up front. Let's see if he can stay there.
Yeah, we're back to Green. Matt's leading. I tell you what, that's a team that gets it done week in and week out on pit road. They do a terrific job.
They were coming right before that caution came out, too, so they got a good car. Get this clean air on the nose, and he's going to be probably even better.
A lot of these guys, first time they've been able to make adjustments on their cars. It'll be interesting to see how that's going to help them and let them see if they've got anything for that 26 as he tries to work his way back towards the front.
Mark Martin in the 8 car trying to make a move. There's McMurray. The 10 car of Patrick Carpentier that had gone in the garage area early after the spin and contact is back on the racetrack.
Yeah, Marcus Ambrose got into the corner a little hard and just barely got into the wall up in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He's back underway here now.
Back up front, our pole sitter Jeff Gordon had said the car was sliding in the middle of the corner, and he was wanting to get on pit road, make some adjustments, and looks like they've done whatever they've done has worked.
Well, it's working for now. We've seen that these cars, you know, during the run, so you see some guys that are good early, some guys that are not so good early, that can come back at the end of these runs.
Matt Kenseth, our leader, he was the 2003 Cup Series champion the last year before the chase began. We asked Matt Kenseth about what it takes to win a NASCAR Cup Series title.
We could put together a string of some real good finishes and some good races, but we've yet to be a victory lane this year. We really know we need to win some races and get running better and be more competitive. And we've been a top 10 car a lot. We haven't been a top 5 car very much. We haven't been a contender to win very much, and that's where you need to be able to win a championship. So we're just a little bit off, and we got to keep working on it, take it one race at a time, and get running better.
A week ago, they were involved in a multi-car crash at lap 280, and he finished 14th at DNF to begin the chase. So he came in here in the last spot. But a good run here, he could be back in it before we get to Kansas next week.
Yeah, they really need a good run. They, we see these cars battling here in back towards the middle part of the pack. A lot of swapping of positions. Guys on the inside and outside trying to make up spots. Just really tight. You see Tony Stewart right in the middle of that.
Tony Stewart's running 18th, and he's trying to get by a lot of these guys. He's made some pretty good headway, but he started so far back that it's been kind of a struggle for him to get up through here. Shannon?
Yeah, and that was the goal, and as far as Zipadelli told me, it was to get up front. Right now, Tony Stewart battling with tight conditions on that last pit stop. They made a wedge adjustment and took 4 tires just to try to give him some relief inside that 20 car. But they feel good about this run. At the start of the race, Tony Stewart came over the radio and said, guys, I really feel it. We're going to have a good run today.
Well, that's good to hear. When your driver's confident like that, especially somebody like Stewart that knows what he needs, that's a good feeling.
That's pretty confident. You go in the middle of 2 other cars and make a pass 3 wide here at Dover. So he has to have a pretty good race car.
This battle back in the pack here is about 15th, 16th, 17th on back. David Reagan was there. Juan Pablo Montoya you saw right in front of Stewart. Dave Blaney is there. By the way, Dave Blaney's best run of the year came at this track back in the spring when he had a top 10 finish. The 11 car that had the pit road speeding penalty had to go back to the end of the longest line. Denny Hamlin coming back through the pack. There's the 83 car as well, Brian Vickers.
Yeah, that penalty won't be devastating to him if nothing happens while he's back in here. He's got plenty of time and a good race car to make his way back towards the front. You see Denny there going to the bottom right behind the Michael Waltrip car. He's made some pretty good time even in these few laps since we restarted. Dave, you got more on Denny Hamlin?
Well, yeah, DJ, just think about how Greg Biffle came through the pack with a good race car, and you can do that if your race car is good. Remember yesterday when he was talking about the chassis being confused during final practice? Do you remember that? I'm talking about me getting confused too, but he said the chassis was confused, and Mike Ford, his crew chief, told me that really just had to do with grip. A lot of guys complain about that. The corner has many different trends to it while the car goes through it, and that's just all about grip. If you can get the balance where it needs to be, then you can just drive it, and that's what they thought they had achieved, and he's proving it by driving back through this field.
Well, I'm sure that Denny had a talk with it at that chassis after practice was over and got it a little more on the page that he wanted to be on. I do remember that yesterday. That was an interesting comment. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say that their chassis was confused, but that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, Dave makes a good point, and these corners are so long and different as you go through them. You know, you got a lot of transitions in and out, and the car can do different things even through the corner.
This is 20th on back, Junior in 20th place. Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind him is Kenny Schrader.
Junior gets a little loose off the corner.
Yeah, and Bobby Labonte on the lead lap there, trying to. His car went up across the racetrack a lap ago. Now he goes on the bottom to get beneath Ken Schrader in the 96 car.
Yeah, Junior had fallen back quite a bit and lost a little bit more even on that pit exchange there. So he was really struggling when we got to about lap 50. It seemed like that his car fell off for quite a bit more than what some of the others did as he tries to make his way back towards the front now.
Back up front, the 26 car, Jamie McMurray now beginning to reel in the 24 that has backed up some. Jeff Gordon had moved in on Kenseth, and then Kenseth is now pulled away by about half a straightaway, and Gordon in jeopardy of losing the second spot.
Andy, I'm going to go ahead and give you credit. You picked a nice sleeper here today, and if anybody else is going to win this race, they're going to have to beat Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, his car comes to life after they run a few laps. You can kind of see it's like the cream rising to the top. After they've run a little while, that's when the chassis really takes over.
Although I will mention again, you saw the different uniforms that Alan Bestwick and the guys pointed out. They have taken some key crew members off this team to put them on chase teams, the 99 and the 16. And so how could that impact what's going to happen on pit road with these guys? Dave.
Gary, funny you should mention that. Right after that pit stop, which we know was subpar, crew chief Larry Carter said, hey, everybody meet me behind the box. He got the crew together. He had a little talk with them, encouraged them, told them not to get down, but also to pick themselves up, not let that happen again if they could help it. The pit stop wasn't exactly bad. It just wasn't quick enough. So Carter got them together, encouraged them, and they should be good to go from here. We'll see.
Yeah, I didn't see anything really wrong with the pit stop. They just got beat out. I think some of that could be their position on pit road.
Yeah, and sometimes that first one's always a little bit more difficult, isn't it, Andy? You're not wanting to make a mistake, just trying to get it done.
Especially when you're leading the race and you haven't been leading lately. Guys are kind of either nervous or pumped up, and you can, you just need to make that first pit stop and get it out of the way.
Matt Kenseth knows what success tastes like at Dover, Delaware. That's back in the spring of 2006. He started 19th, and then when the day was done, there's the 8 car, by the way, making a move inside the 24. Wow. Mark Martin and the 99 coming.
Yeah, Carl Edwards has made a nice run up from his 22nd starting position. This is going to put him up to the 4th spot as he takes it away from Jeff Gordon. So we see that he came here on a mission to win this. He was my pick earlier in the week. I'll say that as we were on NASCAR Now. But I know that's really going on the limb. I'm sure Brad Daugherty's sitting there and saying, DJ, you really go out there.
But you picked him, and that's what counts. As I started to tell you a moment ago, Matt Kenseth knows what victory tastes like here at Dover, Delaware, because back in June of 2006, he started 19th and got the job done. Monday Night Football continues on ESPN with 2 of the favorites in the AFC as Brett Favre and the New York Jets make a trip out west to face Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, and the San Diego Chargers. Monday night, 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN, and coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Riding along here with the 0-1 car, our leading Rebestis Rookie of the Year contender, Regan Smith.
You can see he's struggling a little bit there. You see Tony Stewart up just ahead of him. Dave Blaney having another good run here at Dover.
Well, you have a bad handling car at Dover. It can be a long day.
Told you that. Yeah, there was my pick. Yeah, glad we didn't get to those. It was Travis Quaffles who I'd picked. I thought he was going to, with Todd Parrott at the helm, I thought they were going to poised to have a pretty good day here. They looked good in practice yesterday, but Andy, just you said, these race cars change so much especially whenever you get a little bit of temperature to the racetrack.
It seems like these crew chiefs have to make decisions on Saturday night of what to do to their car. Even if they're good, they've got to decide, what we're going to do on Sunday because the tracks do change so much.
Here comes Mr. Biffle, the 16 car. We saw these two, Biffle and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, battling the last few weeks, specifically at California 3 weeks ago.
Biffle's got a good race car now. I think they've made a couple of adjustments on that car. You can see him coming. He's able to pass cars. He's got it right on the bottom for the majority of the time. Looks like it turns really good, and that's going to be important as this track continues to rubber up.
All these Roush cars are really good today. Matt Kenseth leading the race.
Yeah, Biffle could hardly contain himself at NASCAR Countdown when they were down there talking with Brad and Rusty and Alan about how good the car. He didn't want to tell them how good the car was. They finally got it out of him.
Yeah, they just finally drug it out of him. They tied him down and wouldn't let him get out of there until he finally admitted just how good that car was. You can see him up top here and trying to get a good run off of there. Dave, what's Biffle saying now?
Well, DJ, I had a similar conversation with Greg Irwin about being on the radar now. I know Rusty asked him that question, and I said, do you feel it? He goes, oh, yeah, we feel it. We really thought that this was going to be our breakout weekend, so we kind of expected to be on the radar here. But remember, last week at Loudon, that was a surprise to them. That was a bonus because traditionally they haven't run well there, and it was a great way to start the chase.
Well, it's nice when you get those little bonuses, places you're just thinking about that, hey, let's go here, and if we can come out with a pretty good day, things would be great. Then we've got Dover and Kansas coming up. What these guys do, they went out and won the race at Loudon, and now they've got Dover and Kansas still coming. Possibility of, if not a victory, running in the top 5, all 3 of those.
What was a term Brad Daugherty used? The stars are all lining up for people. You know, he was using that talking about Kansas, but it isn't bad for that 16 car because of going back to where he won at Kansas.
You can see Jimmy Johnson, just pull over and let Biffle go. He knows it's a fast race car, and he might also say, I might be able to pick something up here, see what makes him that much faster. Is he doing something different on the track?
Biffle is moving forward with the 88 car, and he is not so fortunate. He's headed back. Jamie.
That's right. He qualified 10th. It wasn't a bad run on Friday. Yesterday, he was fastest in the morning practice. They thought they had a top 10 car, but that certainly hasn't been the case today.
Just have to
right
guess.
now, it's really, really loose. Shattered the right rear everywhere. You do the best you can. I think I am right now.
And you hear if I can go back to last weekend and do it over, I would keep things in perspective and wouldn't have said the harsh things I said on the radio as they were coming adversity, sitting 25th.
Well, I think he's just fighting some grip, and we heard him talk about not getting that right rear end. And, you know, we've talked about this a lot about what Dale Jr. said last week. Hey, this young man's just competitive. He just has a lot of fire in him, and sometimes you say those things. You know, it's been said in this sport for a long time, a lot of radio communication. It's just that now everybody hears it. It used to be that just the race teams heard that, and the rest of the public and the rest of the race world didn't hear all of that, Andy.
I'm glad they didn't hear some of my conversations with some of my drivers.
And also the fact that it's his cousin, Tony Uri Jr., who's the crew chief, and they are just blatantly honest with each other because they grew up together as youngsters playing in the playgrounds and now at the racetracks. Matt Kenseth, our leader, back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Just past a quarter distance in today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Dover, Delaware. Our coverage presented by Principal Financial Group. Matt Kenseth is leading, but he's in some heavy lap traffic, and Jamie McMurray in the 26 is starting to run him down as we work here at lap number 111 of the 400. Rusty, you've been watching the lap times on the leader, Matt Kenseth, as this green flag run is going along. They went back green about 40 laps ago.
Yeah, I guess the thing I'm really amazed about, Alan, is that the tires are doing a great job out there, but it's kind of old school. They're really falling off a lot, and I really like that. I like it when you have tire fall off. Cars can change lanes and do things like that. But you know what it really means, though, is that on a restart, you better get it while those tires are good. If you got to pass somebody, get it done real fast. Strike while the tires are got the most speed. But that's one thing I'm noticing. They're having more fall off today than they had yesterday.
I'll tell you what, Matt's had his hands full trying to put Robbie Gordon in that 7 car lap down. Robbie right now is running as the last car on the lead lap or the first car lap down, depending on where he and Matt Kenseth cross the finish line in relation to each other. And Matt's been trying for about 7 or 8 laps to clear that 7 car. And Robbie Gordon just doesn't want to give it up.
Robbie Gordon's one of the toughest guys to pass. He's a real hard-nosed competitor. Right now, he's just trying to stay in that lead lap, and that's what he's got to do, just drive his guts out. But he's got to be conscious. That's one of the chase guys behind him.
And so that has brought Jamie McMurray up to challenge for the lead. Doc, top 2, nose to tail.
McMurray, who was so good early on, has now run down his teammate. And about 4 car length separation and inside of traffic there. And Robbie Gordon does not want to go a lap down. I don't blame him.
He's giving these guys a fit. Yeah. They've let Mark Martin catch up there, too. That's our top 3 right there. Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin. Robbie Gordon's not doing anything wrong. It just makes it difficult because Matt Kenseth's car is good on the bottom, but he can't get that run off the corner. You can see him get up beside him right here. He just can't get enough to throw. Robbie slipped right there, and I think Matt's going to clear him right at this point in time.
And as you said, now
didn't quite get him.
Oh, baby.
I believe he's going to have it, though. As he gets through the center of the corner, he should be able to beat him off of this corner.
Might be able to use one of these guys in front as a pick. I believe he's got him now.
Yeah, McMurray going to try to follow beneath the 7 car. He can't get underneath him. Now, right in front of this battle is a 15 and 21. These are the cars trying to stay on the lead lap. Marcos Ambrose and Paul Menard. They are 26th and 27.
They're not going to give up this fight easily. They want to stay on the lead lap.
No, and it makes it really difficult when you get to a place like this, and how difficult it is. You can see Matt Kenseth try to get back to the gas. See Mark Martin take the 2nd spot away. Matt's having a hard time up front of him right there. just trying to get by Marcus Ambrose, but especially when you get with guys you haven't been used to racing with. Marcus Ambrose hasn't run a lot of these type races, and that makes it difficult, not knowing exactly what they're going to do on the racetrack and how much room they're going to give you.
Don't look now, but the 99's also moving in on these guys. Carl Edwards now moving in for there's him on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to move in on the 8 car of Mark Martin and the 26 of McMurray.
And you pointed out just a minute ago that looking at lap times that 99 was pretty quick there, and I know that the 17's been in some traffic, but Carl's been coming. He's right on the bottom and digging.
And Mark Martin's the only one that can split up these Roush cars.
Kenseth holding on to the lead. Matt Kenseth has now led once for 53 laps and Mark a little bit of a wiggle.
Now Jamie McMurray up on the outside of Mark Martin. Is he going to have enough room, or are these guys going to block him in?
More on Carl Edwards, Jamie.
Well, Doc, right before you guys commented on Carl Edwards' fast lap time, he came on the radio and said, Bob, it's pretty good. I just wish we were a bit faster. He said, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. I just, trying to think about the end of the race where we can excel. He just moved up to third, Doc.
He was turning some great lap times, and now they got to be very careful as Edwards trying to get underneath the 8 car. Mark Martin has nothing to lose. He is not a chase contender. He will be next year. He wants to run 1 year for the championship in 2009.
You can see the different lines that all these guys are taking. We got the 2 and the 7 up at the very top as Mark Martin finally clears Robbie Gordon. Carl Edwards hasn't done that yet. These guys, as they get to the corners, they just fan out. You got cars to the bottom, to the middle, and to the top of this racetrack. So just trying to find some grip and where they can get the most speed out of their race car.
Look at that quarter panel flapping on Kurt Busch's car. Looks like it's secure, but it sure is waving in the wind.
We just joined our coverage. Kurt was involved in a little shunt in lap 2. Got a little tap from the 38 car, a little slide from David Gilliland, and his car went into the wall. And the 2 car now being shown a lap down in 27th position. 121 laps are in the books. Matt Kenseth has now led the last 56 laps after a great pit stop by the guys on pit road.
Matt Kenseth continues to lead as we run under green here at Dover. Our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge this week. Which past winner at Dover will get another win today? Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, or Greg Biffle? All good candidates to play. Text the word crew to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone and send in your answer. Results later in the race. Standard text rate applies. Jeff Gordon running 5th right now. Carl Edwards is running in 4th. Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle also running solidly up near the front of the field. Right now, let's take you up to speed, presented by Ford. Mike, you take away with the leader.
And he's been real quiet on the racetrack as well. Not complaining one bit. Early in the race, he said it was a little bit loose, but real happy with the race car right now. They made some left side adjustments last time down pit road. After that stop, they said they could continue to work in that direction to make it better. He's still a little loose, as you saw off the corner there, but that car looks pretty stout, Dave.
His teammate runs in 2nd, Jamie McMurray. All 4 Roush cars in the top 10. A clue. Larry Carter told me this morning they come here with a baseline setup they all use, then they tweak it to the driver's liking. Driver 26 likes right now, Jamie.
And Mark Martin behind him likes his car too, says he's a bit free, but he can run with it. They are focusing on not over-adjusting this car. They want to wait until 100 laps to go, and then they'll worry about the issues. Behind him, Carl Edwards. He gets up next to Mark Martin, and then he has to back off. They've been battling it out for that 3rd place position for quite some time now. Carl Edwards, though, having a pretty good run considering he picked up some of that damage from that earlier wreck. He started 22nd right now, runs 4th, Dave.
Jeff Gordon restarted 2nd, has fallen back to the 5th position. He says, my car rotates in the middle, then it just continues to rotate all the way off the corner. So that's what they're going to have to work on this next pit stop. Greg Biffle continuing to drive his way back up through the field after an earlier pit stop lost him track position. The car's still very good, just a hair tight for Biffle right now, according to the driver. Shannon?
Dave, it was just moments ago that David Rudiman lost that 6th place spot to Greg Biffle. Right now, there is no comment over the 44 radio. The only voice you hear is that of the spotter. He made no changes on that car in the last run. He said it was started off tight and then it began to loosen up. And this is a surprising run for this team because crew chief told me that the car was just okay. This car looks a lot better than just okay. Mike?
Jimmy Johnson very specific when he was breaking down how the car was handling in the corners. Said he was tight in turns 1 and 2 and a little bit tight at the apex of 3 and 4. They're trying to get the car a little bit better next time down pit road. Look for a track bar adjustment on the 48 car, but they are pretty happy, but they know they have room for improvement. Meanwhile, the 07 of Clint Boyer, that car started off tight. They made a right side air pressure adjustment last time down pit road. The car has remained tight. Gil Martin has told Clint to keep the car as much in the black as possible. Stay in the rubber otherwise. That's the only way it's going to help that car, Dave.
Mike, Kyle Busch started this one in 12th, has picked up 2 positions, and then just kind of stalled right there. Looking for rhythm, he asked his spotter to tell him where the leader was and where he was in relation to him so he could try to find faster times around this track. Alan?
All right, David, thanks. We went back to green on lap 69. We were about to equal the longest run on tires in this race that some of these drivers have made. Green flag pit stops, not all that far away.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Ford, who invites you to tune into the Ford Championship Weekend on ABC and ESPN November 15th and 16th.
Inching closer to green flag pit stops here at the Monster Mile. There's the leader, Matt Kenseth. We are being told that the leader should be on pit road sometime in the next 6 or 7 laps.
See racing going on right here. It's Matt Kenseth up there, but watch this pass right here. Kyle Busch ran up on the 41 car resource and trying to pass Jimmy Johnson. Little 3-wide action through the middle right there coming off turn 4. That looked easy right there, but I'll assure you that's a lot closer when you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, nice little move by Jimmy Johnson. Said, I've seen this wreck before. I'm not going to be a part of it. That's 9th and 10th, by the way. Johnson had Kyle Busch.
Blow it up. Blow it up. Fine reminder of 06.
Uh-oh, you see smoke. Smoke coming out of this 18 car. He's saying he's blowing up. That's a bad sign. Wow. He just been passed. Oh, got trouble with
a tire blow right there. Yeah, the right rear tire's going on the 88 car.
Stay low there. Stay low. Just a little quarter plane damage. He'll be fine. He ain't gonna tear it up. Go ahead.
4th caution flag today, and it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. As you mentioned, he was struggling mightily with the car backsliding in the field. Now the tire comes apart.
Yeah, that does put him a lap down. Now, he was trying to stay ahead of Matt Kenseth and not lose a lap there, but... Seen Juder up on the high side right here, trying to stay ahead of Matt Kenseth, who's down on the bottom. He got a good run off the corner there to stay ahead. You can see him get a little bit loose right there, though.
Yeah, he knows he's got a problem. Then the tire finally lets go.
Able to keep it out of the wall. Just got a little damage from that tire coming apart. He's almost back to pit road now.
Yeah, there it comes. Tire completely goes away. Didn't hit the wall.
He slowed down just enough to stay out of trouble when it did blow.
It heard him talk about chatter in that right rear end, so he was apparently using that tire up a little beyond what it was capable of.
Yeah, that's obvious that the car was loose because that right rear tire was the first thing to give trouble.
And the 18 car, Kyle Busch, you heard him saying that coming apart, and obviously smoke billowing out now from the exhaust.
Yeah, they got a real problem here that's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse.
It'll blow up after this restart.
That's a pretty good prediction.
Yeah, wow. This team that was on top of the world coming into the chase.
Yeah, they were bulletproof through much of the regular season. Now they finished 34th at New Hampshire and may have an abysmal finish today. Here are the leaders coming down pit road. Mike.
Matt Kenseth came over the radio and said he needs more grip, but he urged Chip Bowen to not make him loose off. They're going to go to work on the left side. They'll make a left side adjustment. The wrench is in, making a track bar adjustment, a 4-tire change. Jamie?
Mark Martin a little free, he said, but they know this track is going to tighten up. No adjustments, 4 tires for Mark Martin. Dave?
Jamie McMurray gives up 2nd position. They'll make a 4-tire change, fill it full of Sunoco fuel. He said it wasn't way tighter, but definitely tighter. That'll be an air pressure change. Now the 18 of Kyle Busch is on pit road as well. They want a track bar and air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for him. They don't go under the hood this time. Still interpreting what Kyle meant exactly by blowing up and smoke coming out of it, guys. That usually means it's not got a long day ahead of it.
Yeah, not a good day for Kyle Busch. Edwards up a couple of spots. McMurray back 4. We'll update what's going on with Kyle Busch and that big cloud as he left pit road after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to the Camping World RV 400 here at Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. Working caution for the fourth time. My, how quickly the complexion of a championship can change. The 18 car, almost bulletproof through the regular season, now has problems for the second week in a row. Let's show you what might be going on with Kyle Busch as we head down to our Chevy Cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
Thank you, Jerry. Last week when we were in Loudon, when the driver tells you the sway bar came undone, believe it. When a guy tells you, hey, I've smelt a burnt piston, I can smell engine oil burning, when those guys tell you that, believe what's going on, because, folks, these guys, they've run these things enough. But, you know, when we go back to an engine problem right here, maybe it's the valve spring area in here that's got the valve down, and maybe into the piston area. But when you see that smoke coming out of the exhaust pipes, what's happening right there? Some part of the valve or the piston is opened up and letting oil coming back up through here, and it's therefore pumping it out the exhaust port. That's the reason you see the smoke coming out the tailpipes. Guys?
My question is, what do you do about it, and what is Kyle saying? Let's listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, it's still running. I mean, there's oil in the cockpit coming through the breather and the oil tank and all that.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, just getting out of line. He was in 11th spot in front of a lot of good cars, and so he's just going to drop to the back and let this thing do whatever it's going to do.
There's J.D. Gibbs. And DJ, would you consider bringing the car in, or guys, is there anything you can do by bringing it in the garage and not letting it just come completely apart?
No, there's really nothing that you can do. You're just going to run it and see how long it may last. As we go back to green, Matt Kenseth, our leader. Carl Edwards came out second, Mark Martin third.
They set sail, and the question is, how long will the 18 engine last? Got to be ticking here for the guy who was the winningest, has been the winningest driver of the year. There's the 18 car on the bottom of the racetrack.
You know, Andy, when it's running around slow is when that really loads up a lot more and you see a lot more of the smoke. The car's not running right now, but you don't really see the smoke.
Yeah, that vacuum, the high vacuum in the engine pulls that smoke out at idle. Once you run full throttle, and not as much of that oil comes up through that exhaust port like we saw what Tim Brewer showed us. That probably is a crack in the piston, and it's not. Oh, Junior's got problems here too.
Earnhardt Jr. goes up across the racetrack and nearly catches the 18. By the way, Earnhardt Jr. after the cut tire, back on and off pit road, he is a lap down in 36th position.
Junior's car is really bad today. He struggled a lot with the handling of that thing.
It's really surprising after what we saw in practice yesterday. We thought that was going to be a pretty decent car. But if they made any adjustments from practice, it obviously was not the right thing to do.
He's just so twitchy through the corner.
You're running so fast here, you can't afford to have anything off. You see these two Rouse cars up front there. They're not having any problems. Greg Biffle is not far behind those guys. And they've got four of the top six are Rouse Fenway cars. If you get off just a little bit, as fast as you are and as fast as you go off into these corners, you're just going to have a long, long day.
Carl Edwards was the fastest car in the happy hour practice session yesterday afternoon, but he has yet to lead a lap today. We've had 3 different leaders, 2 lead changes. We just joined our coverage. Jeff Gordon led the first 30 laps. Jamie McMurray ran him down and led the next 35. And since then, it has been Matt Kenseth. By virtue of a great pit stop, put him out front. He has led now the last 87 laps.
You have to believe that Carl Edwards likes what he sees right now. He's got himself from 22nd up to second. He dodged a potential disaster back early in the race when he had a car spin right in front of him. Got a little left front fender damage, but doesn't seem to be bothering him. He knows the 18 by now is having problems. He's ahead of the 48, so he's sitting in a pretty good position right now.
07 and 44. Clint Boyer making a move. David Rudiman has stayed right there, 5th, 6th, 7th the entire race thus far.
Yeah, the guys are doing a good job. He's doing a great job on the racetrack, and they're doing a nice job in the pits for David today. Shannon?
Yeah, and the car is still pretty good for David Rudiman. Just an air pressure adjustment on that last pit stop. He said, guys, I need just a little bit of help getting through those turns, and I'm just a little loose on entry. But other than that, guys, that 44 is fast today.
He is very fast, and right behind them, behind this battle, in 9th, 10th, and 11th, Kevin Harvick is there. The 29, Jimmy Johnson is there, and the 31 of Jeff Burton.
They're trying to work their way by Robbie Gordon. He's been kind of tough to pass today.
He has, and once again, he's not doing anything wrong. He's just up on that high side and giving the guys the bottom, but he gets such a strong run on the exit of the corner, it makes it difficult for him to pass him.
I'll bet you if you ask Robbie Gordon, he said, you know, my mission today is not to let anybody pass me. That's why I'm out here racing. I want to be the first guy to get to 400 laps.
Well, that's the object, but Yeah, we got a problem with the 84 car, maybe having a problem blowing up too.
Yeah, caution's out.
A.J. Allmendinger.
Ease it around. We got a yellow.
Lap 156, caution for the 5th time today. Didn't sound like the car was running when he came by. We saw the big plume, a big puff of smoke come out of it as he exited the backstretch.
And just to update, Kyle Busch is still running. Really no smoke from his car. Bobby Labonte's going to get the free pass here.
Looking at Kyle Busch, what are the chances? I mean, you've been down there before. You've been in the race cars, DJ, and what are the chances that he could make it for 400 laps?
Not good.
Could you be a little more specific?
Well, it's going to be hard for him to finish the race if it's got a problem internally, which it obviously does. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse as we go along.
Yeah, just depending on exactly what that is, it could be something that will allow him. Obviously, they're not totally up to speed, but he may be able to run enough just to stay in there. You know, if he falls out right now, he's looking at finishing 42nd, so he could stay out there and get himself somewhere in the top 20.
Best case scenario, it won't get any worse. It's not going to get better.
Right.
It's not good right now. And we'll see these guys come down pit road right here. Possibly, they've not run too many laps, but man, these guys will probably want tires real bad. Matt Kenseth will be the one that'll everybody will key off of.
Think anybody will think about 2 tires here if they do come to pit road?
I think they would if they come down.
They pitted 12 laps ago. Remember, they all pitted on lap 145. This is 157.
Well, they're kind of staying behind. Matt Kenseth decided not to pit, so they're staying out. You see some of these guys coming down.
They'll get the signal 2 to go to the green flag. We'll take a break and come back and catch the green at Dover. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Getting set for green here on lap 160, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group.
Okay, the 84 car wasn't blowing up after all. He got this contact from Casey Kane and caused a lot of smoke. And that's what brought this caution out.
A little rub there, and the left rear tire had to come down and pull that fender out, and he has been able to get back on the racetrack. Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and Greg Biffle, the top 5.
Talk about these restarts. Talk about this at the first part of the race, about how dangerous these restarts can be for these guys, especially the guys in the chase. It's obviously for everybody, but everybody's racing hard here. You got guys in the back part of the race that have come in and got tires. A number of the guys from about 20th on back came in.
Saw Marcus Ambrose, a 21 car. He is the first car a lap down in 24th position there, right in front of the 8 and the 24.
He's running pretty good here. He's staying with these leaders. If he can just kind of get right there in that spot and run a few laps and get a caution, he'll get back on the lead lap. They're doing a good job so far.
Whoa,
we got trouble off turn 2 here. Robbie Gordon, turn 3.
And there's the 7 car of Robbie Gordon.
Right side damage.
Wow. See, Jamie McMurray just stopped right there.
God, that's too bad.
Yeah, I could tell you that he probably wanted to just run into the side of him right there.
He doesn't look like he's got a terrible amount of damage.
I believe he's hit it pretty hard there.
Yeah,
he slammed up in.
Steering wheel's all knocked out of whack.
Steering wheel's knocked out of whack. That means messed up the toe in.
Yeah, it's probably been a lower control arm on the right front.
Maybe pulled back on the right side.
He had such a good run going too.
And that's unfortunate.
And it will be a break for the 21 car, Marcus Ambrose. We just mentioned a moment ago, the first car lap down. He will get the free pass, but not a good break for one of our early leaders, Jamie McMurray. Heavy right side damage. Top of your screen.
He was all the way up in the top, and Robbie Gordon, he was obviously trying to pass Robbie, who was a lap down. Robbie got loose and just forced Jamie up in. I hate when these things happen. You know, it was fun being able to talk about Jamie McMurray today and how good he was running.
That's why it stings so much more for Jamie McMurray, because he had such a good run going. And, you know, Robbie Gordon's been tough to pass all day long. He hadn't been quite this tough, but he's been tough all day.
Like Robbie just got out of shape and went right up into the 26 and carried him into the wall.
The problem is he wasn't racing Jamie McMurray.
No, he was a lap down, and he's letting Robbie know.
Well, frustration on Jamie McMurray's part after having the best race car he's probably had in over a year. Now on pit road with some damage on his Ford. Under caution, back in just a moment.
ready to go green here at Dover with Steve Addington, crew chief for Kyle Busch on the 18th. We know they've got motor problems. He's talking to his driver right now. Steve, what are the issues and how long does he stay out there?
We're going to run it till it quits, you know. That's all we can do here. Bad luck here. I think it's a valve or something. Mark Cronquist and all them guys in the engine shop, they do an awesome job, been bulletproof all year long, and just one of those things happened here. Thought we had a good race car. Lost a little track position here in the pits with getting blocked in, but we were coming back there, so trying to finish the season out for Norm Miller and them guys at Interstate Batteries with a good run here, you know, to end their run this season, but we'll get them back.
One of the dominant cars of 2008, guys, is going to have a struggle to get back in this chase now.
They are indeed, Dave, and remarkably, because of back-to-back caution flags the last 7 laps, the 18 car is still on the lead lap. Not sure how long he'll be able to stay there as slow as he's having to run here down the straightaway. Kenseth pulls away by about 6 car lengths over Carl Edwards, who is stuck behind the lap car of Paul Menard. Now he makes the move on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth is able to really get going on these restarts and get himself a little distance between him and Carl Edwards. The car is really, really fast today for Matt Kenseth. See Mark Martin moving by Paul Menard. Jeff Gordon trying to make that same move, and Greg Biffle right there.
Been a good day for Roush Fenway. They've had 4 cars in the top 5 or 6 much of the afternoon. They had 4 in the top 5 in the final practice session on Saturday.
You guys, just thinking, I got to wonder after last week's events and watching Greg Biffle and how patient he was there, I wonder just how patient he's being right now, too. He might not be showing them everything that he's got to run to the end of this race because we still have 232 laps to go.
Jamie McMurray fans, the 26 car has now officially gone to the garage area after that damage and that slide up into the wall and the contact from the 7 of Robbie Gordon.
See a lot of 2-wide races. We look back, Clint Boyer there having a nice run in the top 10. He's been there for pretty much most of the day. He's up in the 6th spot right now.
Oh,
trouble.
Couple cars sliding up there.
Yeah, the bumper panel just flew off of one of those cars. Looks like Sam Hornish, and now he's in the wall.
Yeah, Hornish slides up and tags the wall. He was sideways in the previous turn.
77, 1 inside. Keep her up there, keep her up there. Cut tire or something there, Travis. We're coming to you. Middle of the backstretch now. Got bumper damage coming to you also.
Got sideways in the previous corner, and there were a couple of chase guys underneath him. I think Jimmy Johnson was there and a couple others as he got up. There's the rear bumper cover.
Yeah, that's the reason for the caution. That they didn't throw the caution because the cars banging off each other. This piece of debris went flying. They want to get that picked up.
Yeah, I think Brian Vickers was sideways off of that car. I don't know if there was contact between those two. We'll have to see as Sam Hornish comes to the pit road. Here's Brian Vickers. You can see the 77. Well, he gets loose right there, and then Vickers coming up. Wow. David Rudeman right there. Nice job of avoiding that.
Harvick was on the bottom of the racetrack. He had to get ready. There goes the bumper cover after the little nudge there and the contact.
Yeah, there is
Jimmy Johnson right in behind him. Watch Jimmy. He said, "Oh, please go up. Please go up."
You're going to go. A lot of action today.
Wow. That's the second one Jimmy Johnson's avoided. He had to avoid the 10 speeding, the 10 car spinning on lap 12. We told you the monster can bite you in a hurry. Now caution number 7 on the day. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. For you Kyle Busch fans, you may want to look away. This could be the push for the 18 car in the garage area that takes him out of the chase for the Sprint Cup here in 2008. They pushed him back up pit road, and there was oil coming from beneath the 18, and some of these crew guys there in Carl Edwards' pits trying to clean up the grease and oil from underneath that car.
And this thing finally let go, and you can see all that oil going right into Kyle Busch's pit stall, and they came through the 99s and then through Jimmy McMurray's pit stall. And they want to get that cleaned up so they can get good traction off pit road. That's too bad for this 18 team. They've had such a great season so far.
Another one of the Joe Gibbs cars also having issues. The 11 car, Denny Hamlin, been on and off pit road several times. Let's listen in.
Yeah, if it stays the same, it may not hurt to put a little bit in. It's just we
weeping and wet. They're talking about the rear end, right, Tim Brewer?
Yes, sir, Jerry. Hey, the key to keeping this gear cool all day is 1 gallon of lubricant. But the pinion is right here, goes back through here. We actually have a seal that sits in this area right here. But the key is keeping that gallon of grease in it, keeping the pump, keeping it through the cooler. But, Jerry, it quits leaking when it runs out of oil.
Yeah, that's a bad
That's
sign.
not a good thing. Yeah, we saw that right rear tire that came off of the 11 car, and it was soaked in oil. So they've got a pretty good sized leak in that rear end.
Kyle looking over the damage there as they're looking over the problems with the engine. Steve Addington there. Gosh.
You just have to wonder if maybe they were pushing a little bit on the engine side, trying to make up some of the points and get back in this thing. You know, they haven't had many engine problems all year, at least in the points races.
DJ, he was adamant this week in the media center that they weren't going to try to do anything unusual. They had been so good all year long. Why try to panic now? Just climb one race at a time back into the championship picture.
Yeah, and I don't think they did that. I think this is just an unfortunate situation. These guys with Joe Gibbs Racing and their engine department in particular have been so good all year. I don't think that they tried to do anything to make everything up in one race, because you can't do that depending on what the others do. All you can do is go run your race. That's what they were trying to do. Unfortunately, something happened to them today that was really out of their control.
It can be a part failure, it could be a valve spring, anything could have just had a flaw in it. It just made me wonder if maybe that's what they were doing, but it's just too bad.
Obviously very frustrated, Kyle, knowing that all year they've worked. He talked about they work all year to be able to get in the chase and build up those bonus points with 8 victories. At New Hampshire, the disappointment of a 34th place finish, and now in 2 races in the chase, his championship hopes have basically evaporated.
Yeah, they've probably put themselves in a position that's going to be almost unbelievable that they could come back from.
Under caution for the 7th time a day here at the Monster Mile in Dover. Back with a green flag in a moment. Back at Dover, here's where our chasers are restarting right now. You see Carl Edwards back in 2nd spot, and Kenseth now up to 10th in the points is our leader. Kyle Busch in the garage area now being shown 198 points back, and by all rights he could finish as poorly as 42nd or 43rd, possibly 42nd, 1 car already in the garage. Green flag back at Dover, Delaware.
Yeah, we'll point out Jeff Gordon made a pit stop there to get tires and to work on his chassis. That's why he's back in 18th. So it'll be interesting to watch his progress as we move on with this green flag run.
That might not be a bad move. If we have another caution within about 10 or 15 laps, they could actually stay out on the racetrack and gain some track position.
See, once again, Matt Kenseth able to pull away about 4 or 5 car lengths on the start. Dave, how about that 24?
Yeah, one of the reasons why they wanted to stop was Jeff's complaining about the car sliding the nose on entry and sliding the rear off. And one of the adjustments they wanted to make was putting a spring rubber in the right rear. Now, sometimes you can get that done very quickly during a pit stop. Sometimes it takes some more time. And Steve Letarte, the crew chief, said, make sure you've got it in there. I don't want to mess with it again. So they pushed one actually that was already attached into the right rear and dropped the track bar as well.
Pretty sizable adjustment.
You got to make a stab at it. If you're not good enough to win at the time, this is the time to do it. Before you get to halfway, you've got plenty of time to still get your way to the front, Sandy. They've made kind of 2 adjustments there. One to help them turn a little bit, and then the track bar maybe to help that up-off problem that he's talking about.
Yeah, they're trying to do a combination of adjustments to get the car better, but I think the main thing that they've done here is they pitted at the right time. If they don't have a problem in front of them, which is a big if here lately, but if they can make it, 10 or 15, 20 laps, like I said, and have a caution, those other guys are coming in the pits, and they can stay out and gain track position. And we'll see Montoya go up the racetrack.
And you said if there's not a problem in front of him, he's as the 42 car bobbles and goes up the track right in front of Jeff Gordon. Jeff's in 18th position right now.
Well, he moved ahead Montoya right there on that move.
There are 23 cars on the lead lap. Paul Menard is the last car on the lead lap. If you love TV, then this is your night. Jimmy Kimmel hosts the 60th Primetime Emmy Awards tonight live at the Nokia Theater in Los Angeles, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central Time only on ABC. Got an Emmy nominated performance by that 17 car today. What an effort by Matt Kenseth and the crew that's been getting it done all year long, and it's finally paying off for him here with a great pit stop and put him out front, and he's been there ever since.
He's got it going right now, but I know a lot of these guys, Carl Edwards, you see Mark Martin, some of these guys back there, even Greg Biffle are looking at their wristwatch and going, well, it's not quite time to go yet.
Yeah, 3-wide racing here. Jeff Gordon right in the middle of all of this.
Bottom of the racetrack in a hornet's nest back there. Montoya, the 42 car, is a lead lap car. Rudeman is there.
Yeah, Marcus Ambrose, who's in front of that, he's gotten his lap back. He's running well here today. He's on the lead lap.
Give a call to Michael Waltrip again. That 55 car running very well. The last 3 or 4 races, Michael and the entire operation we keep talking about, they've gotten better and better.
Nope.
Sam Hornish again on the bottom of the racetrack, and caution will wave again. This is the 8th one of the day.
Okay, these leaders are going to have to come down pit road this time. We'll see if the 24, 44, those guys that stopped just that last caution will stay out.
Yeah, I'd say if Jeff Gordon helped his car at all right there, that he'll stay out and this work out exactly the way that they had kind of hoped for things to. You see pieces flying off the 77 here. He's been into the wall again.
Sam Hornish now back-to-back caution flags. Debris coming off the back of the car. There's some more of the sheet metal inside the wheel well. The 5 car, Casey Mears, able to get the free pass and putting him back on the lead lap. Now makes 24 cars on the lead lap. So Montoya, Gordon, David Brudeman, Denny Hamlin, David Gilliland, those are the guys that pitted on the previous caution flag, and Bobby Labonte, so they should be okay.
They should be okay, but Denny Hamlin may come back down pit road because they've got this rear end leak that they really need to address. If nothing else, they might need to get some more grease put back in there just so it'll last longer. So you may see them back on pit road with these leaders.
14 laps away from the halfway point here in Dover, Delaware. We have had 3 leaders, 2 different lead changes. If you just joined our coverage, Jeff Gordon was the pole sitter, led the first 30 laps. Jamie McMurray ran him down and passed him. McMurray had a great car, led the next 35 laps, and then after the caution flag, Matt Kenseth came off of pit road first and has led the last 121 consecutive laps.
Pit road's closed. You saw that safety truck down there picking up that piece of sheet metal. So they'll keep it closed one more lap and open it up next time for these leaders.
Might mention that Jamie McMurray, by the way, is back on the racetrack. He has gone to the garage area and come back out in 16 laps down in 42nd position. Let's update the chasers, Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, eventful would be the word I would use to describe the day of the championship contenders so far at the Monster Mile, Doc. Just 2 laps into the race, Tony Stewart, one of the guys who has to miss the mess.
Oh, right off the bat, the 38 car gets loose, gets right up into Kurt Busch, and in the wall they go. And look at Tony Stewart avoiding this big one.
So Stewart still soldiering on. Kyle Busch, after troubles in New Hampshire a week ago, lap 141, says something's wrong.
The dreaded words, I smell oil, and you don't want to hear that. Kyle Busch, 2 weeks in a row during the Chase Championship run, has a catastrophic failure. This puts him way behind the 8 ball.
Into the garage, could finish 43rd. Dale Earnhardt Jr., lap 142. Just about to be lapped, actually just had been lapped by leader Matt Kenseth, and the right rear goes off the 88 car. Junior's a lap down in 28th place. Pit road is open, and let's see if we have any takers as the field comes to the pit entry up in turn 4.
Crew members perched on pit road. There's the Harvick team. 4 tires and some Sunoco fuel. Coming down 35 miles an hour.
Jeff Gordon stayed on the racetrack.
Shannon.
Doc, Kevin Harvick gives up 6, come down, says the car is just a little bit loose, but they are going to wait for the track to come to them. No changes, 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Mike.
This is the best the 17 car has been all day. Matt Kenseth asking for no changes, just 4 tires and fuel on Kenseth's car. Jamie?
Carl Edwards came in second. He has 1 spot to make up. They did right sides only. Felt like that was the safe decision to make. We'll see if it pays off for the 99. Dave?
Greg Biffle pitted from 4th. He now leaves pit road with full of Sunoco fuel and 4 fresh tires. They made a slight air pressure adjustment, just sliding the nose a little and a little bit loose as well.
There's the race off of pit road, and Jimmy Johnson stayed on the racetrack to become our 4th different leader here today. Back in a moment. Jimmy Johnson sets sail in turns 1 and 2 as the green flag waves here at Dover, Delaware. Johnson and Ryan Newman staying on the racetrack. They have tires that are 44 laps older than the guys that just came on pit road a moment ago. Why would they stay out?
Well, I don't know. That's just, to me, that's a big gamble for this 48 team because there's going to be a point in this race where we go green, a good section of the race, and this could be the time that could get this 48 car down. if he has to come on pit road under green.
Yeah, you think you don't want to be back in all of this. Maybe it's one reason that would be, but you're right. I think that's a huge gamble. Carl Edwards just got right side tires whenever he came in, so that's another little different strategy. But we got people on all types of different strategies here. It's going to really be interesting to see how this plays out. You know, some point in time, we usually get a pretty long green flag run, Andy, and that could jump up and bite a few people here.
Looks like this could, this could be if it strings out. These cautions have been coming when they're bunched up. They get strung out right here, the chances of having that caution are less and less.
Jimmy Johnson is our leader. Ryan Newman is in second spot. Dave Blaney, this is where he had his best run of the year. He's back in third in the 22 car. And
how about the 84 car of A.J. Allmendinger? He's sitting up there in fourth spot. And here comes Jeff Gordon behind him.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 car trying to get this car dialed back in. He made wholesale changes with the rubber and adjustments on the car to get it where it would turn. Let's listen into his radio.
It's an absolute joke back here.
Oh, we're gonna be. Everybody is back there. So if it's good back there, he's gonna be really bad when he gets up front.
Not good back here, I can tell you that.
No, I'm with you. That's what I mean. You watch everybody, it's just like a street fight back there.
You got to have a little fun.
Yeah. He's talking about his car back in traffic, got back there where he hadn't been really all day in that much traffic. Just changes the total characteristic of the car. You lose a lot of the front end of that downforce on the front end, and it makes it, you think you're driving, you've gotten in something different.
And then you got to deal with all these other guys that are like all over the place. I think that's what he's talking about. It's just so, everybody's racing so hard back there.
Behind him is Juan Pablo Montoya in sixth position, having a good run as Gordon gets underneath Allmendinger to take the spot away. Shannon?
Yeah, for Juan Pablo Montoya, this is only the second time this car has raced. The first time was at the Brickyard earlier this year. He's been fighting tight conditions all race. Of course, he stayed out on that last pit stop on lap 188. But guys, Juan Pablo Montoya is celebrating a birthday this week. He turned 33 yesterday. He's been in a really good mood all week, and this run is certainly adding to that mood.
Yeah, 33 years old. I don't know how you can get up in the morning now that he's 33.
I was going to say, if I was 33, I'd be celebrating too.
Montoya having a great race today. He pitted the same time as Jeff Gordon. It's lap 173. No, lap 159, I'm sorry.
Heard that radio a moment ago. Jeff Gordon was talking about the dogfight back there. Look at this gaggle of cars. Oh, my. Junior trying to hang on right in front of the 8 car of Mark Martin.
Wow. What did he call it, a street fight?
At the very least. Wow.
Whoa.
Still there.
There's a jab.
Still there, the 15-inch bumper. Still there.
Junior had to get out of the gas there. He got loose out of turn 4.
There.
Mark Martin got into the back of him. See Montoya going by A.J. Allmendinger here to take over that 5th spot.
Yeah, Allmendinger last pitted on lap 159. Montoya actually on 173 with Jeff Gordon.
I'm not sure what A.J. Allmendinger is going to do in 2009, but wherever he is, they've got a driver who has driven, who's got a lot of talent and a tremendous amount of potential. Gordon is in the 4th spot. Montoya 5th. Allmendinger 6th. David Rudiman continuing the resurgence of Michael Waltrip racing here the last 4 or 5 races. David coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes at Richmond, where it all began with a 9th place finish.
They're having another solid day. David doing a good job of just taking what the racetrack will give him right now, what his car is good for, making adjustments on it. You can see him move in on the 84 of Allmendinger right here. Try to get another spot closer to the front. Everybody's got pretty much single file here now. So things have calmed down a little bit. You see the 2 tires with on Carl Edwards there. He's been able to stay in front of Matt Kenseth, who has 4 tires.
Yeah, this whole tire thing is really, you got Jimmy Johnson running up front. He's got 55 laps on his tires, and he's still running good.
How about the 38 car, David Gilliland, who had the great qualifying effort, qualified 7th for Yates Racing, holding his position up there in 9th spot.
Yeah.
Back up front, the 48 car, remember, stayed on the racetrack, and so did Ryan Newman. They're holding 1st and 2nd, but they have given up some 44 laps in terms of fresher tires to the guys that are trying to run them down.
So, Doc, we've got the calculators smoking down here, and we're just trying to figure out what's in this for the 48. And this would appear to be one of those situations where they're just hoping to stay out for about 20 laps, 25 laps, just long enough to make these other guys go halfway through a fuel run or so maybe, and have a caution come out, and then everybody have to pit. Now they've got track position in front of everybody, and they get back on even tires. That's a big gamble.
It is a big gamble, Alan. What I really think's going on, and Brad, is I think they're just tired of getting back there wrestling with everybody. They just want to get away from these cats, get some clean air, and get away. I call it get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard Jeff Gordon's crew chief talking about their beating and banging back there. Jimmy Johnson's not doing that now.
Yeah, and you heard DJ make a great point. These cars are getting spread out, so we're looking for a long green flag run right here. So that could come back and bite this 48 team. I know they're hoping for that call or looking for that caution to give themselves an opportunity, but these cars are spreading out pretty significantly here. They could be riding for a while.
So Andy, if I'm figuring the number of laps they've run under caution and all that kind of thing, we're probably looking at these guys being able to run till about lap what, 235 or so before they'd have to come down pit road. It might be a little unfair of me to jump you on that, but if you get your calculator smoking too, but I think it's about 235, 240. So if these guys can run another 20 laps or so and then have a caution fall their way, that's great. But if not, I agree with you. That's an awfully big gamble with where they are in the championship.
That win is too narrow for me, Alan. And yeah, you're right. It's about 235 before they'll have to pit. And that's kind of optimistic. You know, these guys have to count on a lot of these caution laps to extend that. But, you know, this might work out great for them, but it sure could backfire.
Jimmy Johnson again pitted on lap 145. Jeff Gordon, you see his fuel there. He pitted on lap 173. And Carl Edwards, a 99 car, among those that came on pit road in lap 189. Kyle Busch has gone to the garage area, and Jamie is with him.
Well, they continue looking at that car right now. Kyle, what was your first indication something was wrong?
I can't hear you, but something broke inside the engine. Not sure what it is. I guess they're trying to see what they can do to look at it to fix it, but oh well.
At this point, looking at the chase, is there a possible chance you guys can rebound, Kyle?
At this point, it doesn't matter. Same thing happened 2 years ago. Exact same thing. Wrecked at Loudon, blew up here. So where'd we end up? Dead last.
Well, Kyle, they're still looking at your car, and they're optimistic you could get back out there. Do you think there's any chance?
It doesn't mean, there's no point really, because you get back out there and you're only going to make laps and be in everybody's way and possibly still finish 43rd.
All right, guys, they told me it was something wrong with the valves. They're broken. They're trying to find out what else is broken if they could get back out there and salvage some laps.
That could produce a 43rd place finish today, Jamie, backing up a 40th place finish or 34th place finish a week ago. And that would mean that Kyle Busch will be all the way at the bottom of the 12 chasers. Here are the top 6 right now. Jimmy Johnson, who came in as the co-leader. And there's the bottom 6. You see guys that are gaining spots. Earnhardt Jr. back 6th position, and Kyle Busch goes back from 8th to 12th position. Jimmy Johnson knows what it feels like to be successful at Dover, Delaware. He's a 3-time winner, including this race here back in 2005. Working lap 217 here at the Camping World RV 400 at Dover International Speedway. Jimmy Johnson is our leader. He is the 4th leader today. We've had 3 different lead changes, 8 cautions for 34 laps. We asked you earlier in the day, our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge, which past winner at Dover would get another win today? Would it be A, Jeff Gordon, B, Carl Edwards? It won't be C, Kyle Busch, although we asked you before he headed to the garage area, and D, Greg Biffle. How did you vote? Carl Edwards.
Not a bad pick.
And Gordon gets some love. Biffle gets some love.
Carl Edwards is the last few laps been one of the fastest race cars on the track, so that might be a pretty good choice.
Those that voted for Kyle Busch may have been at the refrigerator when that happened a moment ago. Oh boy, a little close one there with the 42 and 44. Sam Hornish, by the way, has gone to the garage area after having a couple incidents and losing some sheet metal.
We've seen Jamie McMurray on and off the racetrack a few times. He's been out of the garage. He's not up to speed yet. He's back down pit road.
Carl Edwards, a 99 car. That's Montoya, Edwards, and Rudeman you were watching a moment ago. And the 11 car, they're talking about the rear end grease leaking out of the back of Denny Hamlin's car. He gets passed by the 16 for 10th position.
Yeah, there have been a few reports of some guys that were behind the 11 car that there may be getting some fluids on their windshield. Be interesting to see just how long that might last.
Greg Biffle was just behind the 11 car, and I think he said something on his radio about it.
Somebody's leaking oil on my window. Everybody's talking about debris right here. Just take it easy here. I'm looking. Talking about the 99 smoking out in front of you here. Just being careful. No pressure here, but just maintain.
Can't be fun to sail this thing off in a corner, DJ, at 170 miles an hour with oil on your windshield.
Man, I tell you how bad it gets. See Biffle fighting it right there, a little bit loose, but it does make it difficult, especially as you get the sun out here. Makes it awful difficult to see as you enter these corners, and especially as you get closer to these race cars and have to pass them. Dave?
Yeah, good call on the loose. That is the condition of the car right now for Biffle. And, you know, it didn't solve the problem by getting around the 11, did it? That windshield is still covered with oil.
Yeah, he'd love to be able to reach out there and pull one of those tear-offs off that windshield, but he can't do that. He'll have to wait for a pit stop to make it better for him. It just makes it difficult as you get around cars and you're trying to judge, and as you judge against them and like coming up against the walls. We see the 17 and just passing David Rudiman, who gets a little bit loose coming up out of turn 4 himself. Looks like a lot of these cars have gone to the loose side, Andy.
Almost every time we show a car there, you see the back end stepping out. Jimmy Johnson knows it really hanging in there real well. I mean, he's leading the race on these tires that are a lot older than these guys. Only problem he has is his amount of fuel in his tank. What's going on with 48, Mike?
Well, you know, it's tough to really try to figure out what the strategy is all about. Alan talked about the gamble, but it might have been a gamble worth taking. Prior to that last round of pit stops, Jimmy was very unhappy with the car, saying it was absolutely horrible on short runs, a little bit better on long runs as he gained grip. They may have been experimenting to see exactly how this car reacted in clean air, but their time is running out. They just radioed together and said they will be stopping within the next 15 laps.
Yeah, they're hoping they'll get a caution in these next 15 laps, or it's really going to cost him, because these other guys can run a good, 20, 25, 30 laps farther.
We are being told that he should be on pit road within 10 laps. Now, Jimmy Johnson was a factor all during the 2007 season, but here in 2008, it's been all about the late season surge.
We were onto the right things, I think, at the first Michigan race and building some strength. And now we have our stuff where we want it. We know what we need for a flat mile, banked mile, banked big track, flat big track. So we've just been putting it together over the course of the year, and now we're ready, and we're going to great racetracks for us.
This has been a very good racetrack for Jimmy Johnson, 3-time winner here, leading now, but he's going to need some help from a yellow flag in the next 8 or 10 laps, or this could be a very costly maneuver, not coming on the pit road on lap 189 when the yellow is out and all the other leaders pitted. Back with more in just a moment. We are on lap 233 of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group. For you Jimmy Johnson fans, it is now or never. He's going to need the caution flag in the next couple laps because they have tires on the wall and are getting ready to bring him down pit road. There's the Lowe's crew. Chad Canals' bunch getting ready to bring him in for what should be their next stop. Do you go 2 tires or 4 tires, guys?
I'm going 4. DJ said the possibility maybe to get 2 to try to save a little time, but I'm not sure that's a good move right here.
Now, I think as long as they've run as many laps as they have on those left sides, I think that would be a mistake now, too. I think, what Carl Edwards has done getting his 2, as you see, he's caught Jeff Gordon for that 3rd spot. When they did it under that caution, I think maybe it's obviously working out for him. His car is very good, but I think under green flag conditions, we'll see everybody get 4.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like this 2-tire thing works. And later in the race, I'm sure a lot of people took note of this in this 99 car and what they've done, because he's on the move.
Yeah, and you have to be careful because it might look like it's working great, but I think he's just got a great race car, so it might not work on your car if you're struggling at all.
Edwards takes a 3rd spot away from Gordon.
When you got a good race car, it doesn't matter how many tires you put on it.
That's usually the case, yeah.
Dave?
Just to back up DJ's point, the 99 is very good. The 24 says himself, I'm not very good right now. So you have to be careful how you judge that. The 24 right now complaining, very edgy up off, just not very good. And that's a quote from driver 24.
17 car going by the 22 car for position. Kansas gets by Blaney for 4th.
And 12 cars on pit road. He was our 2nd place car. Mike.
Right. pit road. His car is just a little bit too tight overall, especially center off. They're going to take a half round out of the left rear, 4-tire change on the 12, completing work now on the right side, swinging around now to the left side. Pretty clean stop so far. He is away.
Yeah, nice pit stop there. That's the kind you like to have under green flag conditions.
They had a good clean pit road in and off, so everybody able to make that clean stop and get out without any trouble. Everybody's watching this 48 car right now. See how many laps can he go.
Headed on lap 145. We are moving in on 239.
Bring her on a pit this time.
Okay, he's coming this time.
Yeah, and he didn't want to stay out there too much longer anyway. I know he'd like to get it to the very end, but Carl Edwards beating him about 2.5 tenths a lap, so you don't want to give up that. Now, when he comes back with the new tires, he'll be gaining a lot of that back.
Now what he's got to hope for if he comes in and makes his pit stop is that we do not get a yellow flag.
Yeah, he's hoping it stays green now after he makes his stop. And it makes everybody else pit under green.
Long way down pit road at 35 miles an hour. And let's go down to Mike.
And Johnson has hit his marks. He's in his pit box. The team going to work. Expect a 4-tire change. Also a wedge adjustment on this race car. Team completing work on the right side, swinging around the left side. Very fast and clean stop so far. Jimmy Johnson extremely happy. Looking for his 12th career chase win. He's away.
Yeah, great pit stop there. Yeah, but this is where he has to be really, really careful, man. 35 miles an hour. It's so tempting to try to push that, getting out to the pit. So he has to make sure he gets all the way by that cone before he gets on the gas.
There are 8 timing zones on pit road, and that last one's normally where they get you because you get a little anxious to gas it, and that's what they call it to some of the drivers earlier today when they got Denny Hamlin and Elliott Sadler.
And there's our leader now. Carl Edwards has assumed this spot.
Carl becomes our 5th different leader of the day here in Dover, Delaware. Remember, he won this race a year ago, leading 3 times for 95 laps. Let's listen in to his team here on the radio.
Just keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't, pit and get us in a bind, if we wait too long, but I think we'll be all right. Yeah, bud, we can't pit with him, man. He's like 50 laps early because he didn't pit when everybody else did. Right, I just don't want him to get tires on, come all the way around and put us in a lap down situation.
And Carl just told Bob Osborne right now, hey, keep your eye on the 48 though. I want to know what's going on. And Bob said, hey, he's going to be over a lap and a half down. Don't worry about him. Let's just stay focused. And just a reminder, what got him track position earlier, guys, that last pit stop for Carl Edwards, they took right sides only, and they have been killing it in the pits all day with this pit crew.
Levitt is off the pace here. He's rolling around. That's in turn 3.
That's a right rear flat tire, you see.
Tried to get on pit road a moment ago, couldn't get in, and that right rear tire wouldn't let him turn to get down off the racetrack. Now creeping around.
See Dave Blaney.
Okay, you're clear now.
Dave was running in the 5th spot. We see Matt Kenseth take over the 2nd spot from Jeff Gordon.
Jimmy Johnson glad that that 11 car didn't go around when that tire went flat, bringing out a caution.
Gordon's tires are 16 laps older than the 17. Let's go down to Shannon.
Dave Blaney on pit road right now gave up 5th position. Car's just a little tight. No adjustments. 4 tires for that 22 team, Doc.
Really good run for Dave Blaney. They needed a good top 10 finish where they had it.
The 11 car's got more problems than just a flat tire. He has no power. He's going to the garage area right now.
That's the 2nd Gibbs car that's pulled in the garage area today.
16 car moving in on Jeff Gordon, Biffle, and Gordon. That is for 3rd position.
Yeah, as soon as he makes this move on Jeff Gordon, that'll put Roush Fenway with the top 3 spots here with Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, and Greg Biffle here in just a second.
And Biffle's tires are 16 laps newer than what Gordon has. Biffle pitted at lap 189. Gordon came in on lap 173.
Fresh tires wasn't. That's what Carl Edwards' concern a while ago as he was talking to Bob Osborne was about. He didn't want Jimmy Johnson out there making up a lot of time on him and then being out there too long. I don't think he realized just how big a difference there was in the tires that they had. Plus, he's got him a lap down, so it's not that big of a deal for right now, Andy.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson is 1 lap down. He's running 25.13 was his last lap. Carl Edwards was 25.38, so just a couple of tenths. Here's Bobby Labonte.
Bobby, one of the former winners here at Dover. Driving for the King, Richard Petty, who won the very first ever race here at Dover, Delaware in 1969.
Stalls the car on pit road.
Shannon.
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger right now on pit road, guys. He overcame that tire rub right now, running to the top 10, gave up the top 10. The team told me that they should have an announcement sometime next week for where A.J. Allmendinger is going to be next year as they go to work on that car, guys. 4 tires for A.J. Allmendinger.
Allmendinger coming out. Regan Smith, our leading Rookie of the Year contender, is headed to the garage area, the 0-1 car.
Yeah, I talked to A.J. Allmendinger Friday afternoon in the motorhome lot, just asking him what's going on, and he said he hoped to have something pretty soon. He didn't have anything. He said even if I wasn't on TV, he couldn't tell me anything, and I think he thought I'd go tell everybody. I don't know why he'd think that, but he was pretty confident he's going to get something as we see Juan Pablo Montoya coming to pit road. Shannon?
Yeah, for Juan Pablo Montoya, the team told me the car was not that good in practice. They're pretty happy with it here in the race today. He's just been battling some tight conditions, as you see that wrench go in the back window right there, making some chassis adjustments on the 42. 4 tires and some Sunoco fuel for Juan Pablo Montoya and a Terra. Jamie.
And Brian Vickers, the 83, made his way into his pit box right side, left side. Remember last time they were here, they had pit road violations for speeding 2 times of being cognizant of that. It's a clean stop. He's down and away. He must maintain that 35-mile-per-hour limit, Doc.
Making his way back on the racetrack, Carl Edwards. Now, you were looking on the time sheets a moment ago, Andy, comparing the 99 time and what's happening with a couple of the others. We watch Biffle go by, teammates making a pass as Biffle will take the 2nd spot away.
Yeah, I'm watching these lap times from Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards just to see. And if I was up on the pit box of Carl Edwards, I'd be watching this to see just how fast Johnson can run on those tires. He's only just a few tenths, maybe a couple tenths a lap when they're in free, clear traffic. So I don't think I'd be worried about it too much.
Now, Carl Edwards' car is great right now. He's just right around the bottom, passing these cars as he catches them. You can see him coming up to put another lap on Elliott Sadler right at this point in time. But, man, his car is fast. You see it roll through the corner, getting down to the bottom, and he's able to really get back into the throw. Dave, what's going on with the 11 car?
He's been in the garage about 5 minutes now, DJ. They're working underneath the rear end of the car. Undercar mechanic Sean Warren and others are under there where everything is extremely hot. They're going to replace both axles, the gear, and the drive shaft. And I think that's why he was so slow coming down pit road. He just had no drivetrain in the car. But he stays in the cockpit. The guys are going to try to fix it and get it back out. Remember, he started the day 6th in the chase, and another chaser has had trouble here at Dover.
Well, it sounds like it finally quit leaking.
Yeah, you and Jim Brewer called that.
So Brewer said when it quit leaking, it would be out of fluid, and that's what's happened here. And I'll tell you, when that happens, that rear end gets so hot you can't even get near it. It's almost dangerous. They'll catch fire when you pull that gear out sometimes.
So Hamlin now 11th in the chase points. His teammate Kyle Busch in the garage, done for the day, finishing 43rd today. He'll be 12th. The other Joe Gibbs car, by the way, the 20 car of Tony Stewart being shown in 9th position.
See these cars here, Greg Biffle. He's made a run up the second, right along with Tony Stewart here now. Tony's been battling this car most days. Got himself up into the top 10 right now in the 9th spot.
Got some chasers all together there. Harvick, Boyer, Stewart, and Burton are 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Carl Edwards is our leader. He is the 5th leader today and has now led 18 laps. Should be pitting in about 9 laps. We'll be right back.
Lap 263, Jeff Gordon is on pit road for service. They'll make a wedge adjustment on that car. Jeff reporting that the car is tight in the middle of the corner, won't turn, loose off the corner, turns too much. 4 fresh tires full of Sunoco fuel, and he'll leave. Green flag pit stops continuing here at Dover. Doc?
Sub 14-second stop, Dave. Not bad at all for the 24 team, getting him on and off pit road. Jeff Gordon began today as our pole sitter and led the first 30 laps. He has yet to lead since. Has a pretty good car. There comes the leader by him, the 99 car of Carl Edwards. Moving in on the 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You see those fresh tires take over right away. Jeff Gordon now 1 lap down. He was 2 laps down for a moment. Gets one of them back right there.
Yeah, you could hear from Junior's in-car camera there, just spinning the rear tires. He was coming up out of the corner. He's going to be ready for tires. See Martin Truex on the pit road.
He was in 12th position coming down for his scheduled stop. Jamie.
Well, as hoped, Martin Truex Jr.'s car has come to him just a little bit as the day's gone on. 4 tires stop here. For the only race win he has, Martin Truex Jr. was right here at Dover. The car didn't start off as well as they had hoped. They took a gamble with that air pressure setup. Big stop for the 1 car. He's down and away, guys.
You see, play with that pit road speed there. He's trying to keep it just below the maximum. Now he's going to accelerate up.
And a little shift in it and then hammer the throttle. Let's go down to Mike.
Matt Kenseth saying his car's a little bit aero tight. It just will not cut in the center. They'll make a track bar adjustment. 4 tires and fuel. A good stop for Kenseth.
And Carl Edwards pulling into his pit box right now. Not saying a whole lot. I think they may stay with the right side tires. He seemed to like that. He came on the radio and told his crew chief, I like the air pressure we had and the right sides. So let's keep our eyes out here and see what they do. Carl Edwards leading for the first time in that last stint here today. Started 22nd today. Wright says, nope, they are going to opt to put left sides on that car. No adjustments, though. Pit crew's been stellar all day. Let's see if they get him down in a week quick. Shannon?
Yeah, the 20 of Tony Stewart, the car is tightening up. He did make a chassis adjustment, guys. He started this race 33rd, so this is a great run for Tony Stewart. He's made his way to the front. Okay.
Shannon, Greg Biffle is on pit road. Main concern here, remember, he followed the 11 of Denny Hamlin around while he was leaking that rear end grease. They need to pull a windshield tear-off off this car. They'll change 4 tires. They'll give him a wedge adjustment for a car that's loose. But vision, very important for Greg Biffle at this point. There it goes. They've got it off. He can see better leaving pit road. Shannon.
Yeah, the 29 of Kevin Harvick coming down pit road right now. Has not made any changes on the last 3 pit stops to this car. 4 tires. He said it's just a little bit free, but happy with the car. They're still waiting for the track to come to them. As you see those guys go around to the left side, Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, he is happy today, you guys.
Saw them getting a tear off on the 16 car. They only got half of it. It tore down the middle of the windshield. So they got the part in front of the driver, which will help quite a bit there. Mike.
Most of the day, Clint Boyer would start off a run pretty loose, but within 20 laps, the car would come to him. That was not the case over the last run. It just got looser and looser. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for taking 0.3 pounds out of the right rear. A 4-tire change on the 07 and Sunoco race fuel. Clint Boyer trying to get this car to his liking. Still has not run very competitively toward the front most of the afternoon. Jamie?
Jeff Burton in the 31. Down pit road. He's in his pit box now. They took 4 tires. No adjustments. 14 seconds left. Pretty good stop for Jeff Burton, guys.
Leaders pit stops. If we stay green, we should be able to make it on 1 more stop with about 60 laps to go, 60, 65 to go.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson's our leader again. You see Tony Stewart just in front of him. Tony had gone a lap down here as he came out with those fresh tires. Now he's able to get back in front of the leader and back on the lead lap. You see Jeff Burton right behind Michael Waltrip, right behind Jimmy Johnson. Both those cars are a lap down right now.
As of right now, there would be 15 cars on the lead lap.
There's a battle for third right here. Ryan Newman was in third. Matt Kenseth, with his a little bit fresher tires, takes that spot away.
Some significant pit differentials with some of these guys and pit strategy involved. Rusty?
Well, I tell you what, guys, Jimmy Johnson just ran the last lap of a 25.53, which is pretty slow at the moment compared to some of the guys just came out at 24.80. So those guys who just pitted are really outrunning them right now. Really, they only had about 28 laps on him, Alan, when he pitted. Johnson was behind 28 laps, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens, differential on these pits and these times.
Yeah, when Jimmy came back out and Carl Edwards was leading, Jimmy was knocking cars off left and right and almost got himself in position to get the free pass should a caution have come out. Now the thing is turned around the other way. They've run through the cycle of stops, but probably for the next 15 laps, Edwards is going to be much faster than Jimmy. He's already knocked, since Edwards came off pit road with fresh tires, 2 seconds out of Johnson's lead.
Brad, one thing I was concerned about, you heard Carl Edwards come across the radio and say, don't hold me out here too long. They said, well, you can run like 40 laps. Well, he pitted 27 laps into that 40-lap run that he had left on fuel because he didn't want to get outrun on the racetrack that bad. I think that was a good call to bring Carl Edwards down that soon.
Yeah, I think that was a smart call, and it's going to play out here. Just as Alan said, he just knocked another 1/10 of a second off of that lead of Jimmy Johnson. He will walk him down here very soon.
Watching Ambrose and Reigns almost crash there. So Andy, if you're Chad Knaus up on top of that box, what you want now is a caution to get back on even fuel and even tires with the 99 car, right?
Yeah, and Alan, there's another reason he's going to want a caution. 99 of Carl Edwards and these other guys can make it on one more stop. I'm not so sure that 48 can do that. They'll have to go a long way to make it on one more stop.
So not only is he slower right now, when he came back out with his fresh tires, he was only 0.2 of a second a lap faster than the 99. Now that he doesn't, the 99 has fresh tires. Carl Edwards last time by was almost a half a second faster than 48. So the longer they run, the more time on the racetrack Jimmie Johnson's going to lose, on top of which he needs some help in the fuel mileage category. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC, brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. And DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV.
$116 laps, all that remains here of this 400-lapper, 400 miles at Dover International Speedway. Jimmie Johnson is our leader in the 48 car. Gotta hope that maybe he can get a yellow flag, get a break. He may be very, very close on fuel. Most of the other leaders can make it on one stop, and a lot of people believe he cannot. 44, David Rudiman had made his pit stop. There's a 29 behind him of Kevin Harvick. Harvick's being shown in 10th position behind Rudiman.
David got held up there a little bit by the 26 and the 7. See Harvick right behind there, trying to make his way up there. So far, another top 10 run. He's in the 10th spot. And speaking of Kevin Harvick.
And he would gain 4 spots in the chase. Right now, he's 6th in the point standings by virtue of some of the guys having troubles. The 18 in the garage area will finish 40-30. 11 car, by the way, Denny Hamlin back on the racetrack after changing that rear end. He would lose. He's now showing 37 laps down.
Yeah, actually, everybody, 42 cars are out there right now. The only one that's off is Kyle Busch. Shannon, how about Kevin Harvick's day?
Well, Kevin Harvick right now is saying that the car is getting a little bit loose on him. But you know, guys, I am not surprised that Kevin Harvick made his way up into the top 10. He started 24th. I spoke with his crew chief, Todd Barrier, this morning. He said this car is our workhorse. This car, with the exception of the accident that it got in at Indy, has finished in the top 10 every time we've had it on the racetrack. He told me he felt really good about this run here today.
Kevin Harvick just continues the pedals we talk about. He has had quite a comeback. 8 top 10 finishes in the last 9 races. But even coming into the chase, everyone knew he was going to be one of the underdogs, and we asked him about that.
I love playing the underdog role, and it's fun to come in that role, and before you know it, people don't even see you coming, and hopefully if we can capitalize on that situation, I think that will give us good momentum headed to the end of the year.
All about momentum here in the chase, and certainly he has gotten it now. The 8 car being able to make a move and take the 5th spot away from Jeff Gordon.
Those 2 guys there know their way around this racetrack for sure.
They will be teammates, by the way, in 2009 as Mark Martin goes over to Hendrick Motorsports to get one more shot at winning a championship. And how about that? Mark Martin could become the first 50-year-old NASCAR champion. He will be 50 next year, going to run full bore with Hendrick Motorsports for the title.
Yeah, I'm sure Mark would tell us, all right, let's hold on. We have a caution on the racetrack.
There's the caution Jimmie Johnson needed.
Now, perfect. And we're talking about these other guys that are having good runs and everything, and where they've moved in the points and everything. The problem is the top 2 guys are the 2 guys that are first and second on the racetrack too. So they're
hard to make up ground on them then, isn't it?
Hard to make up ground. But this was perfect for Jimmie Johnson. Everybody's going to come now, and they're going to have to make one more pit stop after this. So their strategy eventually paid off. It took a long time to get there, but Chad Knaus looks like a genius one more time.
He's just doing a great job.
He may be. I'm not saying
He's doing a great job.
We're going to do 4 tires, get her full of fuel. We're going to have a clear pit out, clear pit in also.
Caution number 9 on the day. Chad Knaus and crew talking about what they're going to be able to do here with Jimmie. Let's go down to Dave.
And Doc, the crews have been given what they call the extra man here on pit road. It's an extra man to go over the wall and just take care of the windshield and maybe give the driver a drink. And that's a good thing for Biffle, because this is all they got off of that tear-off. And as you can see, they're wasn't much in the way of vision coming through this. Now, the one advantage that Biffle has is that it came off the left side, and these drivers look left going into the corner, so he had some advantage there, but they wanted to get the whole thing off last time. This time, they'll have a person out there to either tear it off or wipe the windshield, the extra man.
So they got part of it off anyway, so he can look out of his left eye.
Okay, pit road's open. These guys are coming down. Here comes Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle.
Again, as DJ said, they'll have to make one more stop. This one pretty critical.
Yeah, we've seen how important getting out front and that clean areas makes a big difference, making these pit stops. Mike?
And Jimmy Johnson said he was pretty good at the beginning of that run, but got tight toward the end. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, a 4-tire change in fuel on Johnson's car, just trying to free him up just a little bit. Otherwise, he was pretty good. Jamie?
Carl Edwards said he was a bit loose. He said if we tighten it up, I can be a lot faster. They're going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Going to make one round of a wedge adjustment on that left side just to tighten it up in 4 tires. Dave?
Jamie, they got the rest of the tear-off off. There are only 4 tires to change on this car. They've done it. No changes to the chassis, no air pressure adjustment. Greg likes the handling, and now he can see.
Track race off of pit road, and remember how important it is to get off of pit road. Jimmy Johnson able to get down pit road. Great work by the 48 team. Carl Edwards, Biffle up a spot. Kenseth loses 1. Dave Blaney up 2. Watch the 48 just edging the 99 as they're exiting the pits here, and then comes the 16 car. Remember when Kenseth got off of pit road, he's able to stay out there for 122 consecutive laps. Can Jimmy Johnson now hang on?
It might truly be last man standing the way some of these championship drivers have had days unfold at the Monster Mile. But for the 2 guys who came into the race tied for the point lead, they just about came off pit road tied for the race lead.
Man, I tell you what, they were side by side coming out of pit road, and for the first time all day long now, they're side by side. And 48 car Jimmy Johnson qualified 20th. Carl Edwards was 22nd. Now they're side by side, Brad, finally.
Yeah, we're going to get to see these guys duke it out. We got the 2 strongest hot rods we believe up front. With old Biff laying back there in the cut. We're getting ready to go heat racing for 100 laps and see who the king of the hill is, baby.
Equal tires, equal fuel for the front 3. And I tell you what, Alan, it's going to be a shootout right now. Now we can finally see who is the strongest cat out there.
Yeah, the interesting thing for probably about, what, the last 45 minutes to an hour, we've been sitting here talking about strategy and what different teams were thinking while they were on their different schedules and that kind of thing. Now the caution, which by the way was for debris in turn 3, which we did see the safety truck go out and pick up. Now this caution has brought that all back together, and now we talk about straight up racing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We got a little over 100 laps to go. It's been a long day here at Dover. Now we're getting ready to get down to it. Go to the fridge, get your cold drink, get you a pack of nabs, because the racing is getting ready to just now get started.
Brad, I tell you what, that was some scary strategy at the 48 car. Jimmy Johnson pulled earlier, you know, staying out, getting himself a lap down, out of sequence, and finally this thing shook itself out. Chad Knaus looks pretty smart now.
Dale Jarrett called it. He said it could be a long green flag run, and I'll be darned if we didn't have a nice, long green flag run. It's all played out, though, and worked right into the hands of the 48 crew.
That was my point. Might have been scary strategy. It worked. Doc, he's got the best track position he could have right now, Jimmy Johnson does.
He does indeed, and remember, they came in here tied in the point standings. Carl Edwards, for the first time in his career, atop the standings, actually tied with Jimmy Johnson, and right now, Carl is back by 15 points. Greg Biffle right there, and you see where they're restarting from. How about that? First, second, and third in the points, starting first, second, and third. And boy, I tell you, it's been that kind of day. The monster has been mean. And who is going to be the last driver running, much less the last man standing? Let's listen into Jimmy's radio.
Make sure you get something to drink. Look at everything in there, make sure everything's feeling good. Get a piece of candy there. Got just over 100 laps to go still. All's good in here. Back up 1 battery.
Just want to make sure the driver's good and fresh and ready to go here for this restart.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We got 100 laps to go. And let's give a call out to a couple of guys that hung on to the lead lap there. A.J. Allmendinger, Michael Waltrip were hanging on there. Juan Pablo Montoya, Bobby Labonte got the free pass there. But these guys, that's a long green flag run. These guys were able to stay on the lead lap.
17 cars on the lead lap. Pace truck getting ready to pull away. So why don't we listen in to the spotters as we go full throttle.
Pace truck's going. All right, pace car's down. You got it. Green flag. Still there inside. Still there. Still there barely. Inside. Clear, clear. Clear. Too wide behind you. Good job. Still there. Clear low. Clear. Clear. Clear by one. Inside corner. Clear all around. Clear all around. Go.
Jimmy Johnson right in front of Carl Edwards, and here goes Biffle on the high side of both of them.
Here we go. We're clearing all this lap traffic, and they're almost 3 wide coming off turn 2.
Oh, yeah. All right, Andy.
I picked Biffle on that restart. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's been sitting around here riding around looking at his watch. It's not time to go, and I think he's looked at it and said it might be time.
Yeah, he said that car was bad fast in the countdown show. Carl Edwards got a fast car, too.
Kenz's back there saying, don't forget about me, boys.
And remember, Rusty Wallace said, finally, these guys all are on an even playing field. 4 tires, fresh tires, and get what you can get.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson sitting there saying, these Roush cars are ganged up on me here. What am I going to do?
Speaking of ganging up, look here.
They're everywhere. Inside, outside, and in my mirror.
3 wide.
Oh, wow. Biffle takes the lead.
I told you, you've been watching. He's been looking at that wristwatch.
That's good stuff there.
It's time to go.
There have been 9 leaders, 12 different lead changes, and right now Matt Kenseth has led the most laps.
It doesn't get any better than that, guys.
I tell you what, Biffle, we've known how much talent he had, but he's become a little bit of a fox here, laying back on these guys. You heard him say last week that he held back a little bit. Now he's waited to the last 100 laps and going to set sail, it looks like.
He's going to get that horse's head right here. He's going on, strolling off that corner.
Mark Martin deciding, I want to get up there and play in this party. Yeah, a week ago, Greg Biffle waited till 12 laps to go to make that move and made that pass look easy.
I think it's just like Rusty Wallace said, though. He needs to make that move when the tires are good. If he waits too long to do that, then you really can't do that. These tires they lose so much grip, and I think that's a great call by Rusty because that's the way you do it.
More on Mark Martin from Jamie.
Well, Tony Gibson, his crew chief, told me this morning, hey, we're going to take what we can get, a little bit of give and take here the first 300 laps, but those last 100 guys, it's going for broke. We're going to adjust on it, and that last pit stop, they did make an air pressure adjustment. Mark said that car feels good. It's hammered down now, guys. We're going to really see what this 8 car's made of.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep the hammer down, I can tell you that. And he can do that, there's no doubt. Andy, any chance you can run the tires off of this thing, though, right now?
Yeah, you can. You know, these guys still have to make another stop, so they'll be able to get some right-side tires, but they could run them off here if they run them too hard.
Here's our pole sitter, Jeff Gordon, now being shown in the 6th position behind Martin and in front of Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, Harvick there once again, up into the 7th spot now. Just keeping it steady. Both these guys have good race cars, but it'll be interesting to see. They're a little ways back from our first 5. It'd take something for them to get up there. Shannon.
Well, Kevin Harvick really has been battling this whole race. Started all the way in the back of the field. On that last pit stop, they finally made some adjustments on that car. They went down on the track bar. He said the rear end was sliding a little bit. But guys, that car was hooked up all race. This was only the 2nd adjustment they had made on that 29 car.
You heard his comments about being the sleeper, being the ultimate underdog. Well, he came into the day, as you saw, 10th in the points. He could leave here 5th or maybe even better.
You know, we did talk about him before the Loudon race, that as consistent as this race team has been, that they could go into this and just have a lot of top 10s, and if they could group some top 5s in there, they could possibly be right there when we get to Homestead. It's like he's got his car a lot better right now. What Harvick some, and he seemed like he was struggling a little bit in the center of the corner at times, but it looks like that car's a lot better through the center of the corner and getting off. David Rudeman.
He's been solid all day long. He's right there in the top 10, just still digging along. He's had some good races here in a row.
Yeah, here's David Rudeman going by in the 44 car. And you mentioned he'd been 5th, 6th, 7th, right now being shown in 8th position.
And right behind him is Clint Boyer, who's in 9th, but that next car you see back there is the 88, and he is not on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. struggled today. He's 2 laps down in 24th. Jamie?
What a frustrating day, DJ. They started 10th. They were fastest yesterday in the first practice. They thought they had a pretty decent car. Tony Uri Jr. told me, we're probably 10th to 15th. Has not been the case. He has been extremely loose. Now, every pit stop, they've only made air pressure adjustments. And remember, he spun out on lap 145. Then he missed his pit box. That got him back a lap. And so they've been trying to play catch-up the entire time, but still loose. DJ, what do you think about only making air pressure adjustments for such severe loose conditions, Rusty?
Jamie, I tell you what, the right rear quarter panel on the 88 cars, the guys up in the booth well knows, very, very critical on these new car tomorrows for NASCAR. If you see him going down the straightaway at most tracks, they're tracking sideways. That's putting a lot of downforce into the right side of these cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s right rear quarter panel's got a lot of damage, so he doesn't have the downforce he needs to have. That's the reason he's off the pace right now. In fact, you see Kurt Busch's car earlier. He's got the same problem, a missing right rear quarter panel. And GJ and Andy, that is really going to kill his downforce and kill his speed.
It kills that side force that they need too, Rusty. You know, these cars really rely on that.
Yeah, we talk about how tough these cars are, and you can see Kurt Busch there right there, who got in an accident on just the first lap of the race, not of his making, but it makes it difficult. The cars are durable, very durable, but they're not able to do the things that they need to do. He's getting a black flag here because some parts are flying off of this. When we were on Dale Jr. just a minute ago, you could see something, but it looked like tape that flew off in front of him. So he's going to have to make a trip to pit road to keep some of that stuff from coming out here and making another caution flag for us. See Michael Waltrip go by. Michael has moved up into the 12th spot. Good run for him today.
The 77 car also being black flagged. Another one of the Penske cars for some sheet metal flapping as well as the 2 car. So they're trying to get the 2 car on the pit road and be able to pull some of that away.
That's what's caused a lot of these debris cautions, or these cars with all this damage. And so NASCAR doesn't want any more of those. They want to try to get these cars off the track.
Greg Biffle had pulled away, but now looks like the 99 may be reeling him in just a bit. Dave?
And Greg just reported on the radio that he thinks he might have a flat. I have not known Biffle to, play with his crew that way late in the race like this, and the 99 does appear to be closing, so we'll keep an eye on the leader reporting some type of trouble from his car.
Yeah, almost 2/10 quicker that time by was Edwards moving in now. He had, as Biffle had just passed him and pulled away by like 15 car lengths, and now Edwards is coming in a hurry.
That might be what you said, Dale. Could you run the tires off of him? You can overheat that right rear, and he can think he's got a flat tire. It looks like the lap times are pretty good. I don't think it's flat, but he may have overheated that right rear.
Yeah, he very well could have. We see Mark Martin taking over the 3rd spot. He had passed Jimmy Johnson. Now he's passed Matt Kenseth, moved into the 3rd spot. But you're exactly right, Andy. I was concerned about that, especially getting on that high side. When you get on that high side, especially early, you really have to lean on that right rear tire, and you have to be careful not to use it up. This is a better tire, they said, but you have to be extremely careful. We've seen some cars out here today wearing that right rear tire out.
He's balanced out the lap times. Last time by, they were virtually identical on lap speed. The 99 car, Carl Edwards, and 16 of Greg Biffle. So I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, their lap times are quite a bit faster than anybody else out there right now. And even though Jimmy Johnson is falling back, I wouldn't be too concerned with him yet. He could just be sitting there knowing that he needs to take care of his equipment. He's not that far behind these guys.
Greg Biffle had been waiting a long time to get back to victory lane. In fact, he entered New Hampshire a week ago with a 33-race winless streak. What would happen? He would lead 3 times for 58 laps to go to victory lane. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Just 76 laps to go here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group. Greg Biffle been passed now by Carl Edwards. There's the 99 car of Edwards back at the point of the field. The lead change took place just a moment ago.
Yeah, Biffle had been slipping a little bit, and you see, whoa, that's a big slip right there, because he's trying to exit turn 2.
That'll overheat the right rear tire.
Yeah, that'll definitely do that. I think that might have happened because he's heated that right rear tire up. Carl goes on to make the pass, and he is our leader once again. These guys better look in their mirror, because we've got an older gentleman coming up close to them. Mark Martin is on the move.
Aren't you kind?
Yeah.
49 years of age, and there is Mark. And what was the saying Dale Earnhardt Sr. used to say? If you get Mark Martin in the top 5 inside of 100 laps to go, it's like trying to take a pork chop away from a bulldog, because he is going to wrestle you for all it's worth to get there. And here comes that 8 car.
This is one of the parts of the race that Mark Martin usually shines the most. Right there at the last part, he can sit up in that seat just as good as any of them.
We talk about physical fitness and how you got to battle this race car and this racetrack. And here's a guy who is a prime example of how to stay fit, even at the fact that he is pushing 50.
Yeah, he just stayed in great shape, and that means that's why he can still do this at that age and do it competitively. See, he's trying to take that second spot away from Greg Biffle right now. He had the second fastest time the last time by lap time. Another car that's really fast is not far behind these guys too. You see Biffle's really still fighting this thing. I believe he just wore his tires out early, Andy, and he's going to fight this now, and it's going to be unfortunate if he doesn't be able to get some tires on this. Short run, he looks really good, but
yeah, it's just hard. You know, you want to try to let that take some pressure off that right rear, cool it down, and make a run, but to do that, you got to slow down too much, and that's just not in Greg Biffle's vocabulary. Slow down.
I was going to say another car that's really fast, not too far behind these guys, is Kevin Harvick. He's up into the 6th spot. His lap times are consistently in the 25:30s right here, which is about 1/10 or 2/10 faster than what Carl Edwards is running, leading the race.
Kevin Harvick, one of the drivers, only one of 3 drivers in the chase that has never won at Dover, Delaware, in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car.
Well, he's about almost just under 5 seconds back right now, so he's got a long ways to make up. But we have a long way to go yet. We still have 70 laps to go in this race.
Update what's going on with the 99, Carl Edwards. Jamie.
I'll tell you, Doc, this 99 team sitting on all cylinders. Bob Osborne is being a psychologist with Carl Edwards. When Greg Biffle passed him a little while ago, he came on the radio. Bob said, hey, listen, just sit back there, race the track. Don't overdrive the corner. Remember, he'll come back to you. He's done it all day. Don't panic. And he did it. Carl Edwards was able to get by him and take advantage. Right now, he's saying the car is a bit loose. They need to tighten it up a little bit more on the next stop. Now, Mark Martin in the 8 car. Tony Gibson, his crew chief, told me in practice yesterday, they actually practiced putting some air pressure adjustments and got feedback from Mark how it would react and use that on the car. That's exactly what they've done today. They tried an air pressure adjustment yesterday. They just made it on that last stop. That car has come to life, guys, as he sits second. Dave?
Jamie, the crew was ready to help Greg Biffle if he came down pit road, but he's decided to stay out. Now basically commenting that the car is very loose as his teammate Matt Kenseth comes upon him. Now, remember what Greg Biffle told us when he was in our pit studio for the Countdown show earlier today. I've just got to execute, not make mistakes, and win races. Now, to play this new tire on the right side, as you guys have been talking about, and execute and win the race, there's a lot going on there. And I think you might be right when you called that he ran it pretty hard to begin with.
Matt Kenseth now running his teammate very hard to take that spot away. Remember, Biffle snapped his winless streak a week ago. Kenseth, his streak now at 27 races. It was a Homestead a year ago, the finale, the last time Matt has gone to victory lane.
And I'm going to throw something out here at you. With knowing how much faster these tires are, there is a big difference in them. Does anybody take a chance in short pit here to split this up instead of going all the way to what they can, which would be with about 20 laps to go or 25 to go? Is somebody going to split it in half and make 2 50-lap runs out of it?
Yeah, somebody can. These chasers, though, have got too much to lose. If that caution comes out while they are, after they make their pit stop and go a lap down, it could really kill their chances. So they're going to have to stay out here and play it conservative. Now, one of these guys, maybe like Mark Martin, could do that, and even maybe Rudeman. He's in the top 10. They could do that and maybe and gain from it.
Well, Tuesdays this fall, ABC is bringing the game show to your house, literally. It's your life and your chance to win big. But the question is, how well do you know your family? Opportunity Knock series premiere this Tuesday on ABC. Who will come early? What about the final pit strategy? What's going to happen? We'll answer all those questions and more when we come back in a moment.
Don't turn back, don't give in.
Okay. You want a ticket to the chase? Well, here are the remaining events. We head to Kansas City. Kansas City, here we come. Next week, all these events on ABC. 1 o'clock Eastern time, our live flag-to-flag coverage beginning with NASCAR Countdown in Talladega, Lowe's Motor Speedway, Martinsville. We all finish it up at Homestead, Miami on November 16th, all live on ABC. With 59 laps to go, they are all chasing Carl Edwards. Here's Martin Truex, our in-race reporter. The New Jersey native running in 22nd position, 1 lap down.
Whoa, that 66 got out of shape right in front of Martin Truex.
Back up front, the 99 car is quick, but there is somebody even quicker.
Mark Martin's been stalking Carl Edwards, but they're trying to work all this traffic. And some of these guys can't tell which way they're going.
Yeah, it makes it interesting, but as we've said before, it makes it more difficult if you're the leader trying to get to these guys first. And you know, most of these cars are more than 1 lap down, but these guys that he may be catching that aren't, give him a little bit more of a problem. So that allows Mark to catch up just a little bit.
You saw there's been 84 races since Mark Martin's won a race, but I'll guarantee you, he hasn't forgotten what it feels like. He wants this one bad.
He does. If you could see Carl Edwards right there slip just a little bit. You could see the back end of his car wiggle just a little bit, but we say that a lot about Carl, and he goes on and wins the race.
Here's the 17 car. We told you it hasn't been as long, only 27 races on his winless streak. Mike.
And Doc, there were times today when that car was the class of the field. He's led 122 laps, but right now the car going away a little bit loose on entry and loose on exit. They made significant wedge and air pressure adjustments last time down to loosen them up, but they went too far. In his words, he says, "We've killed it."
Well, he's running third. I don't know how much they've killed. He might have talked about his chances to win the race. They might have taken that away at this point in time. There's still 55 laps to go, and if he gets another opportunity to work on it again, maybe they can take that adjustment away and get it back. The other guy that's been running good is Kevin Harvick. Awfully fast race car.
He has had the fastest laps on the racetrack. 4 of the last 5 laps, he has been faster until that lap right there than Carl Edwards.
Yeah, he ran up under some traffic there, and that just slows you down quite a bit. Shannon, how about Kevin Harvick?
Well, Dale, Doc, you guys were talking about his consecutive top 10, 7 consecutive top 10. Right now, Kevin Harvick is running 6th, and I can tell you that top 5 is where they want to be. Todd Barrier told me, we're doing well. We've had this consecutive run. We love being in the top 10, but if we want to win a race, if we want to win this championship, we have got to start getting top 5. We've got to start leading laps, and we must win a race.
8 consecutive top 10 finishes for that 29 car and Kevin Harvick. Just getting better and better. You talk about peaking at the right time. Momentum coming their way here in the chase. There's a 07, his teammate, Clint Boyer.
Now, Clint's had a pretty steady race. He really hasn't been that flashy, but he's had a pretty steady event. Here he is in the top 10. That's one thing that this team does well. They are really solid in getting top 10 finishes.
And we heard him talking last week that coming here was a track that they needed to improve on, and it looks like they've done that quite a bit. Again, he hasn't been flashy today, just as you said, but he's been solid right there in the top 10 all day long.
Jeff Gordon, likewise, we talked about the fan favorite on the front row. His 4th career pole at a track where he has won 4 times. It has been a while since Jeff Gordon has gone to victory lane. 32 races. He has won a race, at least 1 race a year, every year since 1994. 14 consecutive years, but not thus far in 2008. And boy, you talk about hungry. He really wants to win one.
Yeah, he does that, and they've worked on this car all day long. They just can't get it exactly right for Jeff. You can see the back end stepping out a little bit. Seems like they've been fighting a little bit tight in the center and then loose off as we have caution on the racetrack.
42.
Juan Pablo has hit the wall, I believe.
You see sparks coming out of it. He's got in the fence. Looks like a right front tire may have gone down on this car.
50 laps to go, and then they will all come on and cut this 100-lap run in half. There is the damage on the right side of the Dodge.
Yeah, he's done for a while.
Yeah, that's a shame. He was having a good run. He was still on the lead lap until he had that problem there and got into the wall.
Just the right sides, guys. Right sides. Let's get the fender out on the right front there, okay, Trev? Get the right side off, okay?
I would say this is going to help Greg Biffle because he was one that had a fast car and kind of just abused his tires. He's got a relatively short run here to the finish, so it might play in his hands a little bit.
A half a lap ago, Biffle had his hands full just hanging on to that car. You talk about that's where these guys earn their money down when the car goes away. Do you take 2? Do you get 4? What do you do?
Well, Carl Edwards' car worked awful good on 2 tires earlier, so it'd be interesting to see. I've got a feeling that they might opt for 2 tires here, and
I think a lot of guys might.
Yeah, 4 tires, and we'll pass anybody that gets 2. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, we'll see.
Carl wants 4.
We'll see what he gets.
He's going to pass anybody that gets 2. And he knows best. He was the one sitting in the seat.
As you mentioned, DJ, he's got a great race car, so those 2 tires looked really good on his car.
Yeah, and his pit crew's been good, so pretty good adoption there, I think.
And it's still 49 laps to go, so 4 tires might not be the bad plan, but you might see somebody get 2 right here. Here they come.
Money stop, and the chase is on. Let's go down to pit road, Mike.
And Matt Kenseth looking for a little bit more traction off, but doesn't want to hurt the middle. He says that last run, the car was completely out of control. The right rear just skipping across the racetrack. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and put the tires back to the pressures where Matt liked him earlier in the race. Jamie?
And once again for Mark Martin, the 8 car, 4 tires, no adjustments on that car. He was thrilled with it last time. Carl Edwards on the bottom of the screen. They took right sides only. They opted for 2 tires. It worked earlier. Dave?
So loose he could hardly drive it. That's what cost Greg Biffle the lead. They don't think they had a flat tire. 4 tires, a wedge adjustment to try to get that car tightened up a little bit.
Race off of pit road. Biffle gains a spot. Kenseth by lose a position on pit road. Newman up 8 spots. Boyer back 2.
I guess the crew chief won out on that decision there, huh? Because we heard Carl Edwards say he wanted 4. He'd pass anybody that got 2. He ended up with 2 tires.
Well, his car really was fast early in the race on 2 tires, and I'm sure that's what they were looking at.
I guess they told him he was going to get 2. He could take off when he wanted to. So.
I had Earnhardt do that to me one time. He came in to get 2 tires. He said, I'm sitting here till I get 4.
In other words,
we'll see how this works. If it works like last time, we'll have no worries.
Yeah, 10-4.
He says, yeah, I've once got to get this done.
Yeah, everybody behind him's got 4, except for, I believe, Ryan Newman took on 2.
So after what's been a long afternoon of racing, a very difficult one for some drivers, we come down to the final moments of today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event in Dover, a day that will have a significant impact on the championship and a day in which we still have a lot to be decided as Carl Edwards' team plays a little strategy on this final pit stop. Throughout the race, we've seen people like Kyle Busch go to the garage with engine problems, Denny Hamlin in and out of the garage with mechanical troubles, Dale Earnhardt Jr. a flat tire, so all of those drivers losing significant ground in the championship today. Meanwhile, Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson, who started the day tied for the point lead, and Greg Biffle, last week's winner at New Hampshire, who was 3rd in points starting the day, are the top 3 drivers on the racetrack. Are 3 of the top 5 drivers on the racetrack as we get set to go back racing for what will be a final 47-lap sprint to the finish. Let's check in some of the front runners' pits. Jamie?
Well, Carl Edwards, they opted to take 2. How you feeling right now, Bob?
You know, we did it earlier with the only one on pit road to do it, so it's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit, but it ran well the first time. We'll see how it holds off the boys. If not, you know, we'll do with what we got, I guess.
He's saying it was like a switch. His car got really loose. Are you guys concerned about that at all?
Well, we tightened up a little bit on this pit stop here for that, but yeah, it was a little odd. It got real loose on us. So.
We'll see if that decision works, Mike.
Matt Kenseth a little bit unhappy over the course of the last run, but you just made some more adjustments. How close do you think you've gotten the car to where it was at the beginning of the race, Chip?
Well, over the course of the race, it was tightening up as we were trying to free him up to get it to roll the middle faster for him. Went a little too far on that last stop, so hopefully this will be back the way he likes it.
Do you feel like you have anything for the leaders right now?
I'm sure we do. Matt's driving the car.
Dave?
Mike, Greg Irwin had to sit through that last run knowing his driver was in trouble. Did you determine there was a tire down or not, Greg?
No, all the tires are up. All the tires are up. I think we just caught a cloud or track change or something's down. I think we had a few out there running in that group that were getting pretty free. So hope we didn't over adjust here for the last 40-some laps. But everybody's doing a great job. Pit crew's doing a heck of a job keeping us in it, and Biff's hanging on.
And he's hanging on to a car that hopefully doesn't turn quite as bad as it used to. Shannon?
Yeah, down here with Chad Knaus right now, you guys had some great strategy earlier in the race. Do you have anything for those 3 cars in front of you right now?
I don't have a word of what you said, to be honest with you. I'm sorry, but you know, the team's been doing a really good job today. We've had great pit stops. We're just off a little bit. The Roush cars seem to be a little bit better than what we are. You know, that happens from time to time. They got something figured out here for sure, even since the last time we were here. But Lowe Chevrolet's running great. You know, we'll see what happens.
All right, thanks, Chad.
4 tires for most of the leaders with the exception of Carl Edwards. The air pressures going back where they were when the 17 was a dominant car at the midpoint of the race. There's the 44 car, and misfortunes in the pits for him. He was pitting out of the box and they held him a lap, and what a killer for David Rudiman, who had driven so well all day long.
That's just a terrible thing to happen this late in the race after working so hard to get in position. But the rule is if you pit out of the box, it is a 1-lap penalty.
5 car did get the free pass. He'd been hanging right there. Good effort by Casey Mears to stay right there as the first car lap down, and he gets the benefit of getting now back on the lead lap. Edwards has 2 tires fresh. The 8 car of Mark Martin has 4 fresh tires, and there's a lot of people who believe that when you put 4 tires on an 8 car with Mark Martin, he is the guy to beat.
The one problem he's going to have, though, is Greg Biffle's got 4 also, and he's been fast on these restarts.
And Carl Edwards didn't seem totally thrilled that he only had 2 tires there, so be interesting to watch.
Bob Osborne hoping his driver 99 can hang on because he made the call to put 2 instead of 4 on. Let's see if he can hold off the 8 and the 16.
Well, we know that they tightened Greg Biffle's car up just a little bit. That should help him too here if they didn't get him too tight in the center of the corner.
Mark Martin put a lot of pressure on Carl Edwards here.
He's stalking him right now. He knows that this is the time, just as we talked about earlier, this is the time to do it. We see Matt Kenseth try to go around Greg Biffle.
Kenseth, remember, he asked to have the air pressures put back to where they were when his car was so good in the early part of the race, and he led 122 consecutive laps.
He loses a spot here now. I don't know if that's going to hurt him. You know, hurts him obviously in the short run. Maybe it'll come around here in the next 10 or 15 laps. Carl Edwards with those 2 tires is getting away from
Mark Martin right there. Matt Kenseth's taking over the 2nd spot.
Kenseth just blew by Mark Martin there in the turn, entering turn 1.
Mark Martin had to have a problem. I wasn't looking right at that as they came up. They came off of turn 4, and Matt Kenseth was 5 car lengths behind and passed him before they got to turn 1.
See Jimmy Johnson, the left side of your screen, moving in behind the 16 car. He's trying to get up there and join the fray.
Whatever it was with Mark was just a momentary thing. It looks like he's fine now. But he sure lost a lot of ground to Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, you could see him off each corner there. It looks like the back end of that car's kicking out just a little bit. Mark might have gotten loose there and be something that may come to him and benefit him even though we've only got about 40 laps to go here.
6 of the top 7 cars here with 40 laps to go are chase contenders. The only one who is not in the chase is that 8 car of Mark Martin. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car continuing his top 10 run. He's in 6th right now overall.
Yeah, he's having a good day once again. His teammate Jeff Burton's back in 10th. Matter of fact, all 3 of the RCR cars were in the top 10.
Harvick is 6th, Jeff Gordon is 7th. Boyer, by the way, is back in 9th, and Jeff Burton is 10th. Biffle trying to get back underneath the 8 car to take the spot away. That will be 3rd position, and he does it.
Yeah, I don't think this set of tires to Mark Martin's liking right now. It's affected his car in some way. His problem is going to be that he's going to lose too much distance to the lead and no more time than we have, which is less than 40 laps to go right now. Matt Kenseth continues to close in on Carl Edwards, though. See Jimmy Johnson closing in there, and here's Matt Kenseth. He has 4 fresh tires, and he was the fastest car earlier in this race.
Matt Kenseth has not had the best luck here in the September races the last 2 years. 2 years ago, he came here and led 215 laps, only to run out of gas with 5 laps to go while leading. A year ago, the 17 car came here and led 192 laps, only to have engine failure in the final 100 laps. And so he's been close, but no cigar 2 years in a row. But now he's trying to make up for it here in the final 37 laps.
Carl Edwards is going to give it everything he's got, but Matt Kenseth has got a strong car, 4 tires. He's going to be hard to hold off.
By the way, Matt will get the most laps led here in this race for the 3rd consecutive year.
Yeah, Michael Waltrip and Dave Blaney and Tony Stewart, as we see here, they almost had an accident a while ago. Michael Waltrip all the way to the wall down in turns 1 and 2 just a minute ago. You see he's back to the bottom now, but here's what happened just a couple of laps ago.
Blaney.
It seems like Michael
contact.
It seems like Michael Waltrip and Tony Stewart have been right together since the very start of the race. They've raced each other all day long.
Yeah, it's 11th, 12th, 13th, by the way. Good run, very good run for Michael Waltrip in the 55 car. He's now 11th. Stewart is 12th. Blaney 13th. Bobby Labonte back there in 14th position.
You can see Tony, he's struggled a little bit all day long. He just doesn't seem to have the total speed that he's needing in the package today. He has stayed on the lead lap and is in a decent spot. Michael Waltrip's had a great run as he's battled that car all day long and got an 11th place run going right at the moment. You can see the two different lines that they're running. Tony Stewart right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Michael Waltrip more in the center of the track.
Dave Blaney is also there trying to get another top 10 finish for Bill Davis Racing. Had a 9th place finish here in June. And there are the leaders, about 2 car lengths between Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth.
You can see how hard Matt Kenseth is pushing his car. He wants to get right to the bumper, this 99, try to put some pressure on Carl.
See Carl working the steering wheel there off of turn 2. He's driving that thing with 2 tires on it the last time for everything that it's worth too. They've been about 2, 3, 400ths of a second different, with Matt being faster each lap, but you know, getting to him and passing him is going to be a different story.
But if he can pressure him, knowing that Carl only got 2 tires, that's got to help his cause.
Yeah, Carl's driving that thing sideways. He just beat him by 700ths there. So the 2 laps before, whatever Matt made up, Carl just took it back away there on 1 lap.
And Greg Biffle is actually running these guys down just a little bit, just beating these guys a hair every lap.
Well, Jack Rouse is feeling pretty good that he might go to victory lane today. Just a matter of which one of these guys he's going to be congratulating.
You see just again how hard Matt Kenseth is driving.
I'll tell you what, guys, I like this line that Matt Kenseth is running right now. He's got 4 tires compared to Edwards 2, and if he can keep that thing out at second lane, DJ, and stay out of that air so he gets a good downforce in front of Kenseth's car, won't hurt those tires that way. Here he's got to see. Here we go for a pass on the bottom right now. See if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, that's a good call, Rusty. He really made up some time. That was helping his straightaway speed. Carl looked up in the mirror and saw that too, and I think he's going to take that line away from Matt right here. Now Carl goes back to the bottom, but this is where Matt's really getting a run. He loses a little bit in the center, but he gets such a run coming off the corner. So he can get right to Carl Edwards' bumper.
He lets him have it
all the way to the bumper. Oh, yeah.
Got a couple inches on the other side of it.
Little fusion of the fusions there. Couple of Fords bumping together. Let's see. Oh, Carl gets the car.
He's waving at him. He says, "I'm here." Yeah, he's just trying to apologize for that little nudge he gave Carl.
Jamie?
Well, Rusty hit it on the head, you guys. Exactly what he said is what the spotter Carl Edwards said. Hey, try 1 lane up. It's working for the 17. It worked for the 16. You see Matt Kenseth on the inside of Carl Edwards. He tries to make it stiff, but Carl trying to find his groove, but he hangs on, guys, for the lead.
He almost got it to stick on the bottom of the racetrack, and that slipping and sliding has allowed the 16 car to catch them both.
Oh, yeah, we got 3-way battle for the lead here now.
Guys, I think what the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, has got to do is keep working that high line right now, because if he stays behind that 99 of Edwards, he's going to lose that front end and tear those front tires up. Not so much tear them up, but get that car pushing.
You got somebody else working that high line now, Rusty. Look at Greg Biffle.
Yeah, I see that, Dan. He's just got to, they got to stay out of the track so the car's in front of them. Get that clean air, man. That's what it's all about right now.
Yeah, you can tell every time one of them gets to the bumper, that guy goes to the high side to take that away from them. They know it's going to be a difficult pass if they leave that bottom lane open for them. They're going to have a hard time making that pass off the corner.
Dave?
And this charge is good news for Biffle. Remember, crew chief Greg Irwin said, "I hope we don't adjust too far." And that was their big discussion before that pit stop. 1 round of wedge didn't seem like enough to the driver. 2 seemed like too many to the crew chief. So they settled on 1.5, and it looks like Biffle's car may be just about right.
Yeah, you got to believe Greg Biffle learned something from that previous run. He ran the tires off of his car. He settled back. He let Matt Kenseth go by him on this run early, and now he's able to come on the outside of. He's going to take the 2nd spot here from Matt Kenseth.
He gives a little nudge to Carl Edwards.
Yep. Hello, my name is Greg, and
here I go.
Yeah,
to the
through.
outside. Yeah, he's got that now. He's got a run on him. Is Carl going to cut him off?
He did.
Yeah.
He took that lane away. Whoa. That was risky. I don't think he'd have done that if it hadn't been his teammate.
You see Carl move up, and the guys lose that air on the front end, and they have to back out just a little bit.
And here comes Matt
coming back.
Kenseth back on the inside. Gets his able to nudge his way on the bottom of the racetrack. 23 laps to go. Who's going to be the last?
Here we go. Matt Kenseth takes the lead. You know, I thought it couldn't get any better than it did a while ago, but it just did.
Yeah, Biffle got to the back of Carl's car there as Carl was trying to block him and got him loose. Now he's lost both of those spots. I think that 2 tires hurt him.
Jack Roush saying, just don't wreck each other.
He trusts these guys.
Who's going to be the last Ford standing here at Dover, Delaware? Look like that's all 3 Fords up front for Jack Roush Racing. Roush Fenway.
You see just in the picture, Mark Martin has come into it just a little bit now, passing the lap car, Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, looks like his car's coming back to him a little bit. I don't know if he's got anything for these 3 guys. He may have something for the 99, who definitely, I believe, has made the wrong call here with the 2 tires.
Tell you what, guys, there's no doubt. You said hit the nail on the head there, DJ. I think that the 4 tires now are starting to overhaul Carl Edwards. He's starting to pay the price. You see Mark Martin coming in with those 4 17 car, Kenseth in the 16 car, Biffle driving away from Edwards right now. So we come back next year, I think we should do 4 tires. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think you're right, Rusty. Yeah, he learned it the hard way sometimes, but he put up a gallant effort there.
You think Carl will make his point when the race is over?
Yeah, he will.
I have a feeling that he will, yeah. And the thing that you had to look at
here,
back
boys.
then,
Here goes
Greg
Biffle.
Biffle trying to take the lead here on the inside. But Carl was running against, when he changed 2 tires, he had guys that had older tires, and that's why it made that look pretty good. I know the lap times were still good, but you know, we can beat that around, but it definitely is going to cost him, I believe. Matt's a little loose.
Yeah, he spun those tires all the way down the straightaway. That could actually overheat that right rear of his car and give this advantage back to Biffle.
And up across the racetrack he goes. You just talked about it, and here goes Greg Biffle on the bottom. Can he hold it on the bottom of the racetrack? No.
That's right. Just be through and hold your ground. I lost this race for you. No worries. Ain't over. You're damn right it's not. You just keep racing, buddy. 22 to go.
Well, I love that attitude. That's Carl Edwards saying it's not over. He's not giving up by no means.
Yeah, he is not a quitter by any means.
No, he was just telling them that he lost because he got loose getting into the corner. He was trying to hold those guys behind him, but he was really there with it's not a fair fight with him having 2 tires.
Well, Biffle's just working the back bumper of this 17. I think he's got a better car. He's just trying to figure out where he can get a position. I think he needs to get up on the outside corner of the 17, but I don't know if Matt's going to give it to him.
It's going to be interesting. Matt makes such a wide entry into the corner. If you watch him every time, he's not necessarily running all that high, even though he's up this time. But he makes a wider entry into the corner, and that keeps Greg from getting to that spot on entry and carrying any speed to get up beside him.
Looks like Matt's content to give Greg the bottom of the racetrack. He's giving him the whole bottom lane right here.
Yeah, he knows how difficult it was for him to try to make the pass while they go on the bottom. He's pretty sure that his car is good enough to keep Biffle back there if he just doesn't let him get to that right rear quarter panel.
A week ago, we talked about how hungry Greg Biffle was, who had not won in 33 races. Now he won, and now it's his teammates' turn, possibly the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. 27 races, a winless streak back to Homestead in November a year ago.
Okay, it's 15 laps to go, and now it looks like Biffle's car is starting to wiggle just a little bit in the back end. He's got to take care of that right rear.
Folks, you are watching live our sprint monster moment of the day. This battle up front to see who can conquer the monster mile. Can Biffle get there? Can Kenseth hold him off? 15 laps to go.
Matt's got to be careful. He's spinning that right rear.
For more monster moments, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile.
There he goes.
You can see Matt working that steering wheel. Biffle wants to get there. Oh, yeah, he's there.
He said, okay, he's letting him know now. I'm right there.
These guys continue to race hard side by side.
Okay, Greg sees this lap traffic up ahead, and he's probably trying to plan ahead for that. And
Working if you got time.
if you can get in the right spot when they catch this traffic, this could be an advantage for, well, one or the other. You don't know which one's going to get it here.
Lots of traffic ahead. 10 car, Patrick Carpentier is up there.
This thing can still work out for Carl Edwards. He's sitting back in the catbird seat while these guys are going at it.
He's catching them a little bit right here.
Yeah.
His car's been the best on the long runs that we've seen most of the day. But traffic could play a big part of this. You see 6 cars up here in front of these guys.
Look at Carl all the way on the bottom of the racetrack, almost down on the apron.
Yeah, Matt's there trying to block Biffle, and they're using up more racetrack, which is slowing them down, and Carl's running around the bottom. He's got himself back here. Matt goes back to the bottom now that he had a little bit of cushion on Greg going into the third corner.
Yeah, look at that 99 car go through the middle of the corner, though. He's got a little extra speed right through there. Not as good, quite as good off the corner, but good through the middle.
Carpentier there in the 10 car. Here comes Biffle on the bottom.
He might trap him in here if the 10 car is going to stay high. That's going to take away Matt Kenseth where he had been running on the racetrack.
Boy, Matt did a great job right there getting clear off the corner.
Man, he had to keep his foot in the throttle there and just drive it off of that corner. Biffle back to his bumper here. Could get him really loose right now.
Matt has him by 5 feet at the start-finish line.
This is great racing right here.
Now they're too wide in front of them traffic-wise. They're going to move in on traffic side by side coming down the backstretch.
If Greg can keep side by side on this 17. See, Matt's just getting clear, and that's a big thing right there when they get to this traffic.
Here comes Carl Edwards. Whoa.
Where did he come from? On the bottom of the racetrack. He gets to the inside of Biffle, now goes after the 17.
Well, he could block him in behind the 28 car here. Biffle's going to try to make it run. This was his chance to get the outside.
He wants that outside lane.
Oh, he's going to try to. No, he didn't.
Matt gave him the outside.
Oh, wow, touch.
Carl Edwards saying, watch these guys rub and bump, and I'm right here for the victory.
Biffle's got him now.
He's got him. This is what he was looking for.
Right here. That's the pass.
9 to go, 8 to go.
He made the pass last week in New Hampshire with 12 to go. He makes it with 9 laps to go here at Dover.
Got a little smoke off the 16 car from that contact.
Little fender rub there on the tire.
Well, we're not seeing a huge amount of smoke. We do see some, and it's a little bit of a rub there, but yeah, you see it right there.
Fair amount of smoke right there. That's going to be, it's got 7 laps to go here. He's going to be worried about that a little bit.
Yeah, as he got pinched down and had to turn and put more wheel in it, then that seemed to rub just a little bit more right then.
Here comes Mark Martin again in the picture.
See Carl Edwards trying to go back to the inside of Matt Kenseth. He wants another chance at Greg Biffle.
Six laps to go this time by, and now Greg Biffle starting to pull away a little bit from that battle for second spot. He said
6 to go, 6.
He was almost giddy in the NASCAR Countdown show today, talking to Rusty Wallace and Brad Nellen about how good a car he had. He didn't want to say it. They finally made him say, yeah, I got a car that can just spank him a day. And here we are 394 laps later, and he is the leader with 6 to go.
He's got a little bit of smoke right there on that left front tire. He's got 5 laps to go. Hopefully this tire will make it.
No smoke, hit your mark.
He's got a little bit of smoke. Not a lot.
Yeah, just behind this battle, as we watch the leaders here, Jimmy Johnson has caught Mark Martin. He was trying to make a pass on the high side of him, and you see Kevin Harvick right behind Jimmy Johnson. So a lot of points implications going on right there. Guys trying to get every spot they can. Jimmy Johnson using the higher line. We see Biffle encountering some more traffic, but that shouldn't be a problem for him.
00 waving Biffle down beneath him. 00 Michael McDowell. So it is Biffle, Kenseth, Edwards, Martin, Jimmy Johnson is 5th. Kevin Harvick 6th, Gordon 7th, Boyer 8th, and Jeff Burton 9th. 8 of the top 9 are chase contenders.
3 laps to go here. Looks good for Greg so far.
And Michael Waltrip moved himself into the top 10 in that 10th spot, just ahead of Tony Stewart in 11th. We have 9 of our 11 chasers. 9 of our 12 in the top 11 here today.
Again, Earnhardt Jr. back in 24th, 3 laps down.
Still clear by 12.
Denny Hamlin's in 38th, and Kyle Busch will be scored 43rd and last today.
We really got to hand it to Michael Waltrip. He's had a steady race. Now he's in the top 10. It's hard to do against these guys.
Yeah, and I'm also going to hand it to this guy here, too, who learned on that previous run not to abuse his tires. He jumped out there, took the lead, looked like he was going to drive away, but wore his tires out at that time as he see him get the white flag here. But Greg Biffle learned from that and kind of took it easy.
We said when the day began, 43 drivers had visions of victory. 12 of them are thinking championship, and right now, Greg Biffle will go back-to-back for wins in the 2008 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Biffle beats the monster and wins at Dover, Delaware.
Wow. How impressive is that? 2 weeks in a row. Kenseth 2nd, Edwards 3rd.
That's the best driver, the best car, and the best pit crew who won that race. Thank you, fellas. Thanks for sticking with us.
Michael Waltrip did hang on in that 10th spot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is kind of Dale Jr. just limps to a 24th place finish.
And unofficially, that's going to put Biffle within 10 points of the lead. Actually tied for 2nd right now. That's what we're looking at.
Let's go down and visit with a very happy Jack Roush. Shannon.
That's right, Doc. Congratulations, Jack. You have got to walk me through that moment. You see all three of your championship contenders racing that hard. What was going through your mind?
Well, I was just hoping they didn't get tangled up in a hairball coming off turn 4 on the last lap. But it was spectacular to see that the engineering is working. The help we got from Ford Motor Company is paying its big dividend. And the drivers are doing what they need to be doing, closing the deal on the racetrack.
You know, Jack, last week, Greg Biffle winning the race definitely made a statement saying he was here as a contender. What does this statement say?
Well, it says that we're good at the places we're good at. We knew we'd be good at Dover. Just hope that we can survive Martinsville and Talladega. All
right, congratulations to Jack Roush and the whole Roush organization.
Shannon, the last 1-2-3 finish for Roush, November 2005 at Texas Motor Speedway. In fact, on that day, they finished first, second, third, and fourth. Greg Biffle, what an afternoon. Back-to-back wins here in the chase, and he had moved up after the performance at New Hampshire 6 spots, and he moves up again here to 3rd position. He was in 3rd there. You see just 10 points back.
That might be one of the best Dover races I've ever seen.
Wow, that was unbelievable.
Big loser, of course, today. You see the 18 car back 4 spots, the 11 car back 5. Hamlin and Busch 11th and 12th in the points. Carl Edwards gave it a gallant effort, 2 tires, lost the lead, and then battled back to be right there at him in the final laps.
Carl Edwards led 85 laps today. Carl, that last pit stop. Oh, you and Matt Kenseth talking right now. Last pit stop, you guys opted to take 2. Had you taken 4? Had you taken 4, could you have been in victory lane, Carl?
I don't know, you know. I think if we'd have taken 4, it would have been different. My hat's off to Greg and all the guys. You got to thank Office Depot and Ford and everybody, but I mean, 3rd's no good, but that's the most fun you can have right there. That's a blast. So I'm glad it was Greg and Matt that finished in front of me. It's a good points day, and man, I could do that all night. I wish we didn't have to stop. That was fun.
He extended his points lead by 10 points. Mike?
And Matt Kenseth turns in his best performance of the year, a 2nd place finish, and man, it was tight. What was the difference?
We're just too loose. We just, you know, we just got a little behind in all that pit strategy stuff in the middle. I think we did everything right, but we just got a little bit behind, and that hurt I think our adjustments a little bit. And we got off in the middle of the race being in traffic, and the track loosened up at then, which was really, really weird. And we tightened it back up a little bit, and just should have went more. Greg just had more rear grip than I did. I just couldn't do any more with him.
I see you smiling and joking with your teammate Carl Edwards over here. What was that battle like? 3 Roush cars there battling for the win.
Well, it was fun. I mean, it was intense. I think I gave Carl enough room, but I probably squeezed Greg a couple times pretty bad. So we all wanted to win. You know, we haven't won yet this year. We haven't even ran that good. So it's good to get the DeWalt car running up front again. We tried to look at what them guys were doing, and you know, the engineering department did a good job. All the cars were pretty fast today. Jamie was really fast too. So I guess I'm 2nd happiest here.
And let's go to the 1st happiest in victory lane with Shannon Spake.
Well, it was a top 5 finish for Mark Martin. You were on the hunt there for a while, Mark. How do you feel about the run today?
Well, it's a privilege to be a part of the U.S. Army team, and I want to thank them so much for giving me this opportunity. Tony Gibson and these guys gave me a shot to win this thing, and I can't tell you what it means to me. I was up on the wheel, man. I gave it everything I could, but everything I had, but you know, it just wasn't enough for that 45-lap run. Man, this thing was awesome on the long run. It was really coming before that last caution, and I thought we were going to be able to make it exciting. And even after the restart, I thought, you know, we might have something for them, but I just couldn't. I couldn't run with those guys for about 20 laps. It just they were really fast, and then my car would really come on strong.
All right, well, we'll see Mark Martin in a car next week in the Nationwide Series at Kansas. Doc?
Great effort from Mark Martin and the Army team. And how about this guy? Greg Biffle does it again 2 weeks in a row and wins back-to-back chase events. Dave.
There wasn't hardly a cloud in the sky today, but we can't see a thing down here in Victory Lane, as it's a big celebration for the 2nd week in a row for Greg Biffle. Describe for us what we think may be one of the best Dover races we've ever seen at the end.
I tell you what, I knew I had to race Matt Kenseth clean. He's a great teammate, and Carl Edwards. And I got to run. The car was so loose, I got to run on the outside of him and got up beside him. And he tried to pinch me off going down the backstretch, which is what he should have done. He was leading, and and we got together a little bit, but I had my nose out there, and I couldn't give up. It was my last chance to get him, but, you know, I just want to thank the fans. The fans saw a great race today, and 3M, I wanted to get them in victory lane so bad. I just wish my family's here. It's the second race that they've missed, and hopefully if we keep this up, they'll start coming.
I got to tell you, you've won 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what you have to do to get the points lead, though. You're tied for second now, Greg. What do you think you have to do?
I got to keep doing this. I knew I would have to. I knew these guys were going to be tough, but Kenneth, our shop foreman, his father passed away today, and we're thinking of him. But man, I can't thank the fans enough for coming out and supporting us. And this 3M Ford Fusion, get this thing in victory lane. I can't. What about the engines, man? These things, 3 Fords up front battling for the lead. You know, this Roush Yates horsepower really runs good.
He was loose a lot on that last run. He was blinded by oil mid-race, but he made it to victory lane, Jamie.
Well, the man who he's tied with second in points is Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, how'd your day compare to what you told me pre-race?
It kind of went like we expected. We knew we were going to be strong. I knew deep down inside that the Roush cars had something special today, and it was going to be tough to beat those guys. And I think throughout the day we made our stuff better, and we were running their pace at the end there. So very proud of the effort today, and you know, a bad day at the office, which it's not really a bad day, but to be fifth, you know, we're doing everything right, and we'll just roll on from here and look at this next 8 with this Lowe's Impala.
Of course, consistency wins championship. 4 straight top 5s, Doc.
Guys, final thoughts on what was one doozy of a day here at Dover.
One of the best races I've ever seen. I guess Greg Biffle's thought if you don't win the first 2, you can't win all 10 of them, right?
And he's still third place in the points, but man, he's giving it everything he's got. Greg Biffle's a true contender now.
And guess what? Where Greg Biffle won a year ago, we are headed there to Kansas City. Alan, Kansas City, here we come.
Absolutely, Doc, and it is going to be another great weekend there. Rusty, Brad, that was a great race.
That was a wonderful race. That was some great driving. And those 3 Roush cars, Brad, what a job they did. And Mark Martin also.
Oh, Mark got up in there and got on the wheel. I'll tell you what, to watch those 3 guys, those last 20 laps, go at it, just nip and tuck. That is exciting. That's what we want to see every week. I'm headed to Kansas City tonight, baby.
Me too.
I am fired up.
I'll be the first one there.
And, of course, troubles on the day for Dale Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. The standings have been shaken up. Got a great chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. As we move on to Kansas City next weekend, our coverage starting with the NASCAR Nationwide Series race Saturday at 3 Eastern on ESPN2, and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series chase race number 3 next Sunday, 1 Eastern time on ABC. By the way, Greg Biffle has won back-to-back races. He's the defending winner of that event, and I can't wait to see if he can make the three-peat. ABC World News or your local news coming up on most of these ABC stations except on the West Coast. Couple of final numbers here to run through. Last time the Roush Fenway team finished 1, 2, 3. Homestead, the final race of 2005, when they finished 1 through 4 on that day. Biffle is the first driver ever to win the first 2 races of the chase.
Sounds like they got a lot of momentum to me right now, and Greg Biffle and his team, man, those guys are in great shape.
That's
right
as
now.
good as it gets. That's the type of racing we want to see. And how about old Michael Waltrip sliding up there, getting him a top 10 today?
One of the best runs from Michael. I did get a second place at Loudon, but boy, I tell you what, this was a good, strong run from Michael.
Absolutely.
The last 30 laps of this race as good as any that we've seen all season. 3 teammates, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Carl Edwards, locked up using all the different lanes on this monster mile. In the end, it is Biffle celebrating a second straight win, and it's on to Kansas for race number 3 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup next Sunday on ABC. See you then.
When your back's to the wall and it's do or die.